Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Thursday Throwdown. My name is Dr. Fish. I am your op for this evening, but enough about me. We have our two lovely casters for this. We have Mr. Lotus Knight, or Mr. Dr. Lotus Knight, and we have J.R. Juggerlaw. So, hello, gentlemen. How are you doing?
I'm good, although let's be honest, the only one of us that is lovely is Lotus Knight. I do not fit within that category, but thank you anyway.
I'm
We
sure
sell
that's
ourselves
not
we
true.
sell ourselves short,
I mean, that's the
I'm
running gag,
still
isn't it?
I guess.
it's so good to be back with JR though. We casted Bullstone together for I don't even know how long. It was me, you, and Baze for quite a while.
It was like I want to say like mid 2020 when like the pandemic was like really in full effect and we were like, "Hey, let's find something let's start casting weekend matches because we have the time and it kind of opens up the casting opportunities." And look where we're at now, really.
Yeah. So, we have two matches
Right?
tonight. Yeah, right. For sure. Well, we have two matches tonight. We're going to start off with Roadrunner versus Clarity in Hero Series. I'll let the two guys go ahead and talk about classes. We have the bands up, and I'll be getting these players on the road pretty shortly.
All
Sure.
right.
So before they get running on the road, see what I did there, JR?
Ha ha ha.
So
Everything
Clarity
Lotus says is
is
funny, and you are obligated to agree with me.
Clarity is at a 3-1 record and somehow a 5 seed, which is really weird given who he's beat to get here, even beating Skirt, if I'm not mistaken. And Roadrunner has been having great seasons, but not a super hot start. His team, LeBran, has been struggling a bit. Any thoughts on the team's history since we have a THL historian here? Anything you want to add about these two, JR?
Honestly, if that becomes my nickname, I won't be upset about that.
No.
Well, in terms of players, both of these guys I think have been around roughly the same amount of time. But if we're looking at in terms, I will say this with Roadrunner and Clarity. Both of these guys are players that I would say are deceptively better than their PRs would suggest. Because Roadrunner, for instance, has had some major success in Pro before, and I'll be honest, I had no idea that they were a 5 seed when I first saw them. That's how like that's kind of the shell shock I felt when I found out they were in the 5 seed. Clarity, by contrast, I always knew was way better than his PR suggested, but at the same time, I was pleasantly surprised when I saw how well he was starting to do in Pro this season. So
Yeah.
I really feel like people are going to look at the 50 PR. It's always like, well, that person should be a 5 seed. I mean, that's just not true. If anything, I'm honestly shocked that Clarity still has a 50 PR with how much success he's had over the last several seasons. So, that's just an interesting factor there. And as for the teams we have here, I mean, right now it's 6-5 in LeBron's favor. Both teams have one win out of a possible two. And I'm very surprised to see LeBron is struggling considering how stacked their roster is. But unfortunately, they've had some real struggles through Astro Frog and TH Lemur, who both have still not gotten a win up until this point. So I think there's a possibility of picking things up. But when you see that they're 0-4 and look at the overall records, I hate to say it's not that much of. It's pretty easy to see why.
And the tough part for LeBron is a team that everyone called one of the best teams at the beginning of the season.
Yes,
because it should be, because their squad is completely broken.
On paper,
and
yes.
Yeah, they haven't been doing amazing. That said, I think this is the moment that they really need a good win. And I don't think losing is optional here, or winning is optional. I think they need to win. And at this point, starting this week, they need a comeback. They need to get a ton of points if they want to make it. And Roadrunner is kind of the flag bearer for this team at this point. Just Baze won, which has been a thing every single week because Baze is Baze. Lima lost. If Roadrunner wins, this is quite major for the team. It would only need one win out of Frog or Nails to get the week.
Yep. I will also say this, because this is something that still kind of shocks me. But the Purple Conference is dealing with some very weird circumstances right now in terms of the standings. If you look at the hero standings, the Teal Conference has a pretty balanced set of records overall. A lot of teams that are 2-2, and only one team out of the 7 that are in there has a losing record at the moment. But when you look at the Purple Conference, you've got the Golden Wisps up at top with the 4-0, and the bottom 3 teams are all 0-4. Which is worth mentioning because in a certain way, that may actually help LeBron's chances if they could start to pick up the points.
Yeah, now I will bring us into the match because it is starting. Just a reminder, we have a double rogue ban, and the first match is a mirror. We're going to watch a Shaman mirror, but it's actually not a mirror because the decks are different. We have the it seems to be an Ellie Shaman facing the Quest Shaman.
Ooh.
It's interesting to see Ellie Shaman because that deck has been questionable at best. At least that's my experience with it.
No, I'm in agreement with you there, Lotus.
Well, no, this is a Wacano list.
I mean, there are some Elementalists playing Doomhammer, but if I'm being quite honest, I don't think either of those lists are pretty preferred right now. At the moment, we're definitely seeing that the most prominent Shaman decks are the Bulmer OTK, Free Shaman, and I'm forgetting the other one, and Burn Shaman.
Yeah.
Oh, and Quest, but Quest Shaman is also the Quest is in Burn Shaman, so make of that what you will.
Now this is a really, really good pickup out of that guidance. I just want to note, it's the kind of pickup that can actually change a result. Getting 2 spells with Overload that you already run in your deck typically. And wow, look at that. That is a Loan Shark. That means there are 2 coins added to Roadrunner's hand. That is extremely major. You can't underscore the importance of this out here. Now, here's something really interesting for us to notice while this is happening. We have the Quest Shaman having kind of a lackluster start, but they're really, really quick to finish their first step if they want to, which I'm sure they will. Or they won't. They're choosing to take some time. But at the same time, we do have Clarity not going face as much as he could have, so I guess it compensates. I want to ask you, JR, are you playing a lot of these decks, particularly Ellie Shaman? Is it a deck you've been playing a lot?
I will admit, not recently, but I definitely tested a fair bit a couple weeks ago. And I just, considering all the different Shaman decks I was testing, didn't really work out.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not liking a lot of Clarity's plays here. I feel like in this matchup, you want to go fast if you can. Just really quick aggression helps a ton. And I'm not seeing that.
Yeah, it's always tough to kind of plant to... Sometimes certain plays might seem obvious, but it can definitely be pretty tricky.
Yeah. Now, going for healing here is quite important. And I think it is... Healing 6 is a ton. So I think if we can make sure we get 6, we can maybe get a taunt soon or something. It might be enough to stop the early danger coming from your opponent.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I missed that last part. Could you repeat that, Lotus?
Yeah, I think what really matters here at this point is just making sure you can stop their healing and hit face as hard as you can.
Yes, absolutely.
Make your opponent's life as hard as he can be. I really like this Frostbite play. You have so many wind chills in hand that this is actually fine.
Yeah, I think this is pretty ideal. The only
Yeah.
thing that at this point, like your biggest concern is obviously the Slogger being able to gain life for you. But if you've got all these cards that will freeze it, you just want to make sure you can find a way to clear it without having to battle with it.
Yeah. The question is, do you waste one wind chill this turn? I personally would say no.
I would
I
say
don't.
no, simply because I don't actually think there's anything to be gained from it. Like some people would argue, why would you leave the mana open? But those wind chills draw you a card and can potentially be just give you another freezing option when you really need one. And I'm glad Clarity seems to agree with that play.
I agree. And there's one more thing. These wind chills are basically a cloak of shadows here. They're basically giving you a turn
Right.
because if your opponent attacks, it's game over. There's nothing you can do if they gain 6 health at this point. It's going to be really hard to overcome that. Maybe, well, nothing is always an
I mean,
exaggeration.
I like where you're going with that, but the only problem with that logic, I would say, is that because he does have the burn damage from hand as well, that you know that burn strategy that burn shaman goes for, you could certainly make the argument that that's not exactly what it's doing. Like it's not necessarily a comparison to Cloak of Shadows, but you are definitely obviously preventing a lot of damage
Yes.
by playing those wind chills. So I do see where you're. I don't think it's an unfair comparison for sure.
No, I think the main idea when I say that is you want to buy turns because
Right.
at the moment, if your opponent can heal, it's not going to look good. All he needs is a bit of healing to close the game.
Right.
Tidal Wave would be a good card if you know you can survive one more turn.
But even then, it's like that's still also only dependent um on the minion living for that extra spell damage, given the size of Clarity's board, and I don't see that happening.
No, it's going to be pretty hard.
I mean, I honestly think he'd be perfectly fine slamming that Slogger into there. Like he's got a perfect setup for next turn in terms of like turn 8. Based on the mana he has, but I guess we'll have to see what he draws. And obviously here, this is gonna be a problem since Roadrunner does have a lightning bolt to clear off one of those minions. So suddenly, not looking as strong, but I do think overall, Clarity still has a pretty decent play here with the Wind Chill and the Slogger in hand as well. Oh, look at that!
It's also a misplay that he could have actually just overdrafted the 5/4, so he guaranteed a tidal wave next turn. Right now, he's going to be overloaded, so
Oh,
there's
I see
no
what you're saying.
tidal wave.
Yeah, but I guess
Tidal
the
wave.
question is, do you really think it's going to be useful considering considering the turn? I mean, maybe.
Oh yeah. If your opponent only has a 5/5, you're going to full heal. I'm pretty happy full healing. If I full heal, I win.
Fair.
If you look at the hand, you have charge calls. You can just get
Yeah.
an 8.
Yeah.
Alakir is fine. If you're going to be at full health, Alakir wins.
That's true. Alakir is pretty powerful in these situations, and it's definitely good that for Clarity that Roadrunner overloaded himself, because at that point, even if he did try to clear off the spell damage minion, the tidal wave still would have cleared the entire board. So this actually works out pretty nicely.
I agree. Now we are going to see more healing, which is exactly what he was looking for, and
Yes.
that overdraft is going to kill that 5/4.
I
Now
guess it
you
doesn't really
can,
matter whether he uses it on that or the Slogger, right?
um, yeah, you're
Yeah.
going to need to sacrifice your 4/4 anyways.
Like,
Um,
right.
you're not going face
Yeah, I guess
at
it would
all.
only have mattered if Clarity wasn't at full life.
Yeah, I think at this point we can expect to concede from Roadrunner, or sorry, from Clarity, because you're
Mm,
not going to do this.
yeah, it's
They're
pretty
going to
awkward.
feel the Quest Shaman has won the game, but if you want to hope they DC, I think that's fair.
Oh, come on. What kind of strategy is that?
That's a concede strategy.
You say that. I mean, I don't think it's actually quite over for Clarity, but it's obviously a very awkward hand situation.
I would say it's over, but I'll take your word for it.
Well, I guess it depends because on one hand, oh, right, because he's almost done with the quest. Yeah, with those charge calls, I guess there's not really much you can do about it.
No, he's going to finish the quest. He's going to win chill. He's going to heal.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, no,
over.
yeah, there's nothing, there's not anything, even without the charge calls, Clarity's not going to have any way of dealing with this board.
No. Your opponent is at 26. There's nothing you can do. You can
No.
drop Mutinous and eat their whatever you call it. Instructor Fire.
Yeah, that's not going to do it, unfortunately. I mean, it's good to get that out of his hand, but not really going to do much, unfortunately.
No, we're going to see just double charge calls. We could even see just Perpetual Flame or Tidal Wave.
I mean, Tidal Wave doesn't really make sense here. I think at this point, the idea is go for that charge call. You're gonna get probably the rabbit, get the just the clear stuff. Pretty straightforward.
Now he could have traded into the 2/1 first, so he killed both deers, but it really doesn't matter.
Oh yeah. If you want to throw the 2/3 in there, yeah, that's fair.
Now Roadrunner is respecting removal here.
But see, if you're playing against Shaman, you have to think what possible removal is there.
Shaman has a lot of removal in the class. It's just Elemental Shaman typically doesn't play anything other than Fireheart.
Yeah, but Shaman as a class doesn't really play something that could easily deal with a board like this. At least not like simply. Like you've got spell damage that can really make a difference, but without that spell damage, it seems like that's the only way you get past. You potentially get past a board like this.
Yeah, and with that, Clarity takes the first win against Roadrunner.
Definitely was very back and forth at first, but it seemed like once that quest was completed and we saw that Roadrunner had some solid follow-up plays to playing the quest minion, that yeah, Clarity just could not keep up.
I think Clarity made a few low-tempo plays a few turns in a row.
Yeah.
And in this kind of matchup, you can't afford to do low-tempo plays because at some point, typically around turn 7 or 8, you don't have the board anymore. There's no way you can have the board against a Quest Shaman as Ellie Shaman.
Right.
It's going to go away. So the question is, how long can you keep it? And the answer was not long enough.
I think we've also seen, though, how this is one of those matchups where there's kind of the saying of the longer the match goes, the more favored one deck, the more the favoring of the matchup shifts. Like this was a matchup where if Clarity had been able to play very quickly and end the game quickly, it would have, it would have worked out well for him. But the longer the game went, the more likely Roadrunner was going to be able to, gain control of the board and really dominate the game as a whole.
That's true. It's a classic thing in aggro versus control. And there's the argument, I know everyone argues whether or not Quest Shaman is a control deck, but it was playing the control spot here. And when you're playing the control against aggro, the general rule is you win as long as time goes to infinity. So at some point, you are going to beat your opponent. What matters is, can you survive to that point? And in matches with between an aggro and a control deck, you actually see that happen, as we did last game.
Exactly. That was a quintessential example of how those types of matchups can play out. But now we see Clarity moved on to what I believe is Beast Druid, based on what I'm seeing. Hoping, I guess, to go for an aggressive start that will potentially help him in outpacing Roadrunner this time around, but I guess time will tell. So far, that's what it's looking like.
I really don't know what it is because... Well, no, it could just be the old Beast Druid list. Beast Druids right now have cut the Guff package. Guff is great. It's one of the most fun cards we got in a while, but I don't think it's played in most Beast lists anymore.
Honestly, I haven't seen if there have been any major updates. I have mostly myself been sticking to the same list, and I've been pretty happy with guff and such in there. But I do see the logic in wanting to maybe find a bit more tempo-based cards that are less concerned about the long game.
Yeah, there's a new list that's much closer to aggro druid.
I believe
Um,
it.
and that has been performing well because, well, aggro druid is good still.
Yeah. I mean, that was the thing. I actually personally found Beast Druid to be a little bit stronger, a little bit more powerful,
Sure.
like just more consistent, and also just less often finding myself in situations where I was low on cards and just in top decking mode. Because I always felt like that was one of my biggest frustrations with
Yeah.
aggro druids. So it was nice to see Beast Druid kind of take a slightly different approach. And um, yeah, this is like it seems like that's what's going on here. Um, I'm curious to see like what ultimately happens. I like what Clarity's doing on one hand because the answer in this kind of type of situation is to try to go for a wide board. The problem, of course, is that we see that perpetual flame in Roadrunner's hand, and if he
We
plays it at the
do.
right time, well, we all know what's going to happen.
Well, he can't play it this turn because he won't. He doesn't have an overload card, so that means
Yeah.
he's opting not to take a turn.
Yeah, which is a big surprise, honestly, because I mean, I get why he's doing it because he's afraid of that turn 5 armor up, but
Yeah.
eh. Like, the truth is, you could still mostly clear that board, because it only gives 1 additional health to the minions. But I mean, it's fine. It works out for him. Now the question is, does Clarity go for the peasant? Just play the 1/1 instead? Okay, he just opts not to do anything. Interesting.
I don't know how much I like this guff. I really wanted tempo this turn. I think Moonlit
Yeah.
Guidance could cover tempo. Your opponent doesn't have a turn. It's like the
Mm.
perfect thing for you to just tempo them out.
I mean, that's fair.
I would want a Moonlit Guidance to get us an Oracle.
You would or you wouldn't.
I would. If not an
Yeah.
Oracle, Owl is fine.
Owl is definitely fine here. Um, gives you some options.
Yeah, you can go wide and just say you're not going to have the second Perpetual Flame.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
would on growth if I was going to do that, but that's is fine.
Yeah. I guess he's just thinking I want, pick up the tempo. I do like playing the matriarch here because at this point, like it
Yeah.
is good to combo, but I think you need to play aggressively. Kind of the same idea as the last game. The longer this game goes, the more he is unfortunately going to struggle to beat Roadrunner, so he does need to be quick.
I agree.
And if by some chance he does draw an Oracle next turn, honestly, combining it with Ibis would not be the worst thing ever.
No, not at all.
Speaking from experience, that could be pretty sick.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's a multicaster drawing just 2 cards. There's a Wind Chill and a Lightning Bloom, both of which are pretty
yeah.
good grabs. But
I
there's
mean,
need a Lightning Bolt, the Peasant, if you want that.
yeah. I guess that's an option. I'm like, do you definitely Lightning Bolt here? I mean, definitely Lightning Growth here because.
Oh, with that
Uh-oh.
landscape.
Oh. Order. Oh, no. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, but there was no way of knowing it. So the landslide does hit a lot of the board.
Yeah, he just could have saved himself 1 overload ultimately.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
I
he
see.
didn't.
Because I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Gidra into Thorngrowth is good here.
It's
You can
pretty
also drop an
solid.
Owl.
I would just play the other owl, play the 1/1. Like, you're setting yourself up for a really good situation if you get a composting, an arbor up. Um, it's also
Yeah.
really good just for the fact, like, okay, see, I don't understand why he's holding on to the 1/1.
I agree. I don't see a good reason to keep it here. You could just drop it and
Like, if he
fine.
clears it, fine, but, like, you can't be that worried about AoE just for the sake of that. If, like,
No, no.
he's got Guff that basically acts as a mana, grows mana crystals and acts as a draw engine. It's pretty solid overall.
I agree,
Yeah.
100%. I think just having that cub is damage. Why not have more
Right.
damage at this point?
Exactly.
There's not much you can do. You're basically going to need to hero power for draw at this point. There's
Right.
no good reason to stop Ibis here. Kazakus
Ooh.
is an interesting choice. I could
I
see it if you really want
no.
to.
I would
I
say
would.
go Ivus here. I definitely am all for the Ivus train.
Sure. It's still a good card. Ibis is never bad.
Yeah.
You can clear.
It's just a situation where I feel like, Kazakus will be better when you can like play it next turn and then pick based on what you need and can more than likely play it next turn. Whereas here, well, not the same thing.
Well, I was thinking of going for a 1 to buff the whole board.
It's fair, but it's
Or
also kind of risky because then how much does that give you?
yeah,
Yeah.
I do think you just clear these 2/3s and go.
Yeah,
face
you
to the
kind of
one.
have to. It's not that ideal, unfortunately, but this is still a pretty decent board that Roadrunner is not going to have an easy time clearing right now. And he's kind of put
No.
into a similar situation from last game, where he's got both of the charge calls, which will be amazing later on in the game, but for right now aren't all that great.
And the quest is still a bit away. You could charge call for a 9 or yeah, that's probably fine.
Yeah.
Even an
He
8.
could. He actually, in theory, could complete it this turn.
Oh, the lightning storm is pretty good, to be fair.
But it's also very risky if he doesn't draw some kind of overdraft or doesn't have a follow-up play next turn. Oh, look at this.
Insane.
That is really good. Oh, wow, and he doesn't even get a really good 7-drop.
No.
Oh
It does
my
get.
god!
It's a pretty good
Reversal
buy.
of fortune! Oh
Yeah,
my!
to explain that. I do think at this point you want to gain a mana crystal and then go for the, or not. Fine.
I mean, that's also fine. Especially because guidance can give you some good options. Okay.
Composing is pretty good for nature studies.
Huh. Yeah, I'm actually surprised it didn't. Okay, that's pretty solid too.
Yeah. Now can you play the cub, please?
I mean, at
Cub
the very
first.
least, play a couple minions before you play the Arbor up. Like, come on.
Cub. Just drop the cub.
Oh
No.
my god.
Fine.
I guess we can't have it all, right?
No. Mark of the Wild is pretty good though.
I mean, I feel like partner assignment might actually be better here. Just because
You just want to play it?
yeah, just get yourself some cards.
I guess.
Yeah, I would say definitely throw the 2/3 in there. I mean, that gives you 2 more minions, so that's great. And then 9 damage to face, that's pretty solid.
Sure. I do think it exposes you a bit more to Perpetual Flame, which is a card they likely
And
have
he just
one more.
he just has a second one. It does, but now the difference is if he doesn't have like an overdraft or something, it's gonna make it harder. Like right now he's already at 5 mana. Out of a possible 9. So he's not going to be able to pull off a play like he did last game, where he just got off the minion, the quest minion, the same turn, and made things really, really awkward for clarity very quickly. So, I mean, I guess we'll see what he does here. He's going to go for the Perpetual Flame. All right, he clears off 1, 2. Oh, I mean, he's still got some solid damage off the board, but yeah.
We'll try to clear as much as he can.
I mean, this is what he has to hope that this clears everything but the earth. Wow.
It does.
It does, but here's the thing. Clarity can easily win this if... Oh, wait, hold on. Actually, no, it's not that simple, damn it. Actually, wait, no, if he gets a 1-drop with the buff, he'll have exact lethal if he sees it, though. He has to spot it first.
I really want the Porcupine drop here as well.
Wait, what is
Because it's
he?
just fine.
What? Wait,
He might play Darkus now or
I'm
not.
very confused.
Yeah, so am I. Um,
Maybe he just thought he had lethal there and miscounted? Oh dear God.
yes. Yeah. Um,
Uh,
well, you take the superior golem at this
I
point and
mean,
try
at
to
this
go.
point, yeah. I guess you go taunt, and then I don't know, draw 4, deal 3 damage to all minions. I guess that's the question. You went with deal 3. I mean, that's probably better. I mean,
Yeah.
the good news for clarity is as unless um I was gonna say, is there anything he can? No, I mean, I don't think he. I mean, the rabbit is good, but it doesn't save him.
Now, what would have saved him is actually guidance into the tradable spell,
Yep, into the
because then in
overdraft. Yeah, that was
but
basically his only option there.
yeah, I don't think Roadrunner saw that out, which means Clarity's Beast Druid gets through.
I think he was hoping he got the Colossus,
Yes.
but but no, that even that wouldn't have saved him. Yeah, I think that was just a an oversight on his part.
I think this was I'm not sure what saved me. I'm just going to give up. I think nothing works, which is fair.
Probably. I mean, good for clarity for tying this series up, so it worked out for him. But I mean, like, you know, I'm not going to be too hard on the guy, but I definitely was a little perplexed by some of those plays there.
I have to say the same. I think there were I want to. There's a very fundamental concept, and we used to talk a lot about this in Schoolstone, which is going for tempo in decks like Beast Druid and decks like basically most rogue decks. If you have the tempo, you can use it to snowball, and you can use it to just keep advantage on your opponent. Basically, get the board. You're threatening buffs. Your opponent needs to waste mana to clear the board, and at the same time, you're just putting efficient stuff on the board. Efficient stuff is good, and if they can't handle your efficient stuff, they lose. I think Clarity and Roadrunner here both didn't do enough efficient stuff to win the match. And it's a very non-technical analysis, but that's how I see it.
Yeah, I think that's a. Honestly, I don't really know what else to add to that. I think that's a very good point, a very good outlook on the situation. But now we see we're going into game 3 right now. Clarity is obviously going to be staying on Druid, and we see Roadrunner is switching to Warlock.
Hmm.
Here for a lesson?
Now, how is this matchup favored? I believe the Warlock should be favored here, right?
So, well, honestly, it depends because Warlock in and of itself is favored depending on how they draw. Because the main advantage that Warlock has is even though they don't always play something like the full-blown evil that's good for AoE, they're playing a lot of small, cheap removal that can clear the board that will obviously make it harder for Druid to maintain their presence and maintain their momentum. The thought process when you're playing Handlock is basically I want to make sure that I don't give them any chance to develop a board that they can compost and make my life miserable.
Yeah.
Now, Roadrunner playing full-blown evil is even more helpful with that because it means, well, I can play this one card that basically clears their board, but he wants to be careful, of course, because he wants to both be able to clear the board, but also not wait until Clarity has until he doesn't want to give Clarity the opportunity to play a composting or something like that.
Now, this is a pretty good play, though. Just making sure you have a full hand as Roadrunner.
Yep.
Or almost full next turn, and you can just go Knoll, Tour Guide, just get things going, you know? Your opponent isn't playing the game. Really
Right.
isn't. His hand is awful.
Yeah, this is arguably one of the worst hands Clarity could have had, and especially in this situation.
Yeah. So if they're not playing the game, you can just live tap, you can drop the 1/1. Just play the game by yourself. It's fine. Warlock wins by themselves.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a pretty solid draw. I would definitely... Oh, okay, he's just going to trade. I mean, that's not the worst play.
I don't like it. I would have gone Kennel Hero Power. It's bad,
Yeah,
but
it's bad, but it's not the worst play ever. It's just, he's clearly seeing this matchup in a different way, I would say.
Yeah.
But we see Roadrunner is going to complete the first part of his quest line, and we do also see that he has the option of playing one of those giants if he so chooses. And if I were him, I would do it. Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
It's
Because what's perfect about this... Right, yeah. On top of that, though, the thing is, like, we see Clarity does have Ivus in hand, but the problem is, if he plays it, he's going to unfortunately find out. Yeah, oh boy. Yeah, about that. I don't know what he was thinking when he did that. If I'm being quite honest.
Well, it's not the worst I've ever seen Ivus for.
No, but it's like, you don't play Ivus to go on the defensive, is the thing.
No, not this early. Not at 6 mana.
No. And we see now the problem is Roadrunner actually has the Battle Master in hand now, so Clarity really has to do something and do something big. And I don't know what he's able to do, especially because I'm pretty sure he just ran out of targets for that, for the thank you. Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
there was just...
He
Clarity
literally
just-
drew his last target.
He never played the game. This match was a... Roadrunner played, Clarity waited until the match was over. And that's what happened. There was no purple panels at any point. There was no early minion, no mid-game minion, just nothing.
Yeah. And that's a shame because in Beast Druid, you often don't see that. You often don't see a situation where they don't have some kind of early game play.
Agreed.
It's very interesting. But, I mean, it does happen, unfortunately. It sucks that it had to happen in this type of situation where it really mattered most. But, I mean, at the same time, I think we all know Clarity was going to have an uphill battle just from the fact that Roadrunner both got his giants and was able to get them out pretty quickly. So what does one do about that?
Yeah, Hearthstone has this thing every once in a while. I like to say I believe most games are beatable. I actually think that's true, and I think most of my losses are because of my mistakes. I would not say otherwise.
Correct.
Once in a while, it's not. This is one of them, at least this particular match of Warlock versus Druid. That being said, I do think Clarity's play was quite suboptimal.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I will say this, in regards to your initial point, it's interesting because sometimes you could definitely point to ways in which you could have played a game better, and where affected the outcome of the match. Sometimes you see situations, though, where you could have played a game better, but it doesn't necessarily mean it would have altered the outcome. That's one of the interesting aspects with the RNG of Hearthstone as a whole, from my own experiences.
It might not alter the outcome, but it alters the probability.
Help you improve. It does help you improve, play more optimally. It's like Hearthstone, it seems to be part of the success in it is being able to maximize mastering the things that you can control so that the things that you are less able to control aren't going to have as much of an impact.
Yeah. That's why, for example, the mulligan is so important. Knowing how to mulligan is a non-trivial ability. For example, Roadrunner's hand for a second. Do you keep both tour guides? Do you keep one?
I actually like what he did in keep one, because I think the problem is you really only need one. I think you're probably going to draw something. Your hand's going to be fine, so you don't really need the second one. But you definitely keep one of them. Absolutely.
Fair.
And we see Clarity threw back the... he kept the Peacekeeper, but threw back the Broom and the... Oh god, I keep forgetting what that card is called. The 4/5 Divine Shield.
The Devout Pupil.
Thank you.
I don't think
you
Devout Pupil.
No, you shouldn't keep that. That's not a card you ever really keep in an opening hand.
No.
And we saw Clarity throughout the Trog. It did not quite last. Now we see he's going to go with the Vindicator, which is at least going to give him a nice draw power, but we'll have to see. Oh boy, God, I feel bad for Clarity right now with this awkward hand. Like, the Peacekeeper obviously is going to make things a lot better for him, but he still has to hope that he draws something that's going to, like, give him some more options and kind of ease the process for him.
Yeah, the Warlock has something they can do early, which is a really broken card. It's
Yeah.
called Tamsin.
Yep.
Play one of the Tamsins. Every Tamsin is broken. We all know that.
Yep. Very
It's
much
just a
so.
problem. Whenever you're a Tamsin, you know you're broken. Carriels tend to be broken as well, other than when you're questing. Yeah, no, you don't think much at this point. You just drop that Truth Seeker, give it the Libram, and hope you can stop your opponent from doing what they want to do. I kind of just want to see Roadhunter coin Tamsin. Trade first, but just coin Tamsin. He doesn't want to do it. Fair. And you don't need the perfect board to Tamsin. You can always just Tamsin.
Pretty much.
That said, the Neophyte here is not that bad.
No, and I mean, the thing is, Tamsin is a great card, but in this matchup in particular, it's not necessarily going to be the most useful.
No, but it's never going to be bad.
You are
Ever.
correct about that part.
It's
Man,
just
I gotta admit, I'm actually really liking where this is heading for clarity. I don't think playing the Noble Mount is the answer here, personally. I would definitely try to save that, but, you know, that's also fine, I guess. Actually, yeah, you know what? No, you know what? That actually does work pretty well. I guess the big question is, for next turn, do you think he should probably play the Libram of Hope before he plays the Carriol, right? The hero Carriol, that is.
So I really like the hero cards because of the better hero power.
Right.
So I would consider playing them ASAP so you have a better hero power. Especially in matchups like this. Where
I would agree, but at the same time, my only issue is I think you're probably going to want to play the Libram of Hope first, knowing that's has more of an immediate effect.
Sure.
But I do see the logic behind that. I mean, especially if he's not planning to use the hero power the next couple turns anyway, then this probably works out pretty nicely for him.
What did Roadrunner cut? I think he cut the 2/1 Pirates to fit the Mortal Coils. And the 2/1 Pirates very broken card.
Yeah. Oh, wow. He's actually playing the Carriol here. Interesting. Huh.
I think this is fine.
It's
just get
fine, but
online.
I guess I'm just like, maybe. Oh, right, because he couldn't play the Libram of Hopes here. Okay, that actually probably makes a lot of sense then.
The alternative was to go Carriol, but
or Truth Seeker. He definitely also could have gone Truth Seeker, but it does work out.
I do want to start seeing that hero power, though.
I think the next turn it's going to be like you want to play the Truth Seeker, then play the hero power, knowing you'll most likely be able to. You'll either get it to the Carriol, which is one of the best things that can have it, or you get it to the Pupil, which you could still play that same turn. So works out pretty nicely, really.
Yeah. Now we do see that Roadrunner.
Oh, wow.
That's a really good variant.
That's a really good variant. Yeah. Forget what I said. Do it.
Yeah, I think you just drop him here.
It's very powerful, and we all know, of course, Libram of Hope combined with the broom, pretty sick. Pretty sick. So I'm all for it. This is kind of the ideal kind of time to play it, knowing you're going to get the full value of its effect.
Well, you always do, but still, it's a pretty good draw. Just getting draw in your hand and clearing that minion.
Now, I'm just wondering, why did he not play the free Libram? It's an interesting choice.
My guess is he forgot.
Yeah, I mean, if it was in a matchup where he was worried about silence or something, I'd understand, but it doesn't seem like he has to worry about that here.
No. Now, you could drop a Bristleback and a Hero Power. Or sorry, and the Drain Soul.
He could. Oh boy, I don't know how. Oh, he did have room. I thought for some reason he didn't have room for both minions off the raised head. I mean, it works out. I think you just. I mean, the thing is, do you play both Bristlebacks to clear that, knowing he still has the Labrum of Hope and probably not the best idea? But like, do you also really want to utilize the? Oh, I see what he's doing. Okay.
Yeah, you always go Bristleback
Yeah.
Drain Soul.
Yeah.
And then play one of those fights.
Yeah, that works out pretty well.
I will. Where are the 2/1 pirates? They would be
Yeah,
perfect.
it is good in this deck, but I guess he decided to focus more on the AoE, which is a valid strategy.
I guess.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually kind of okay with the fact that the hero power went on the 1-drop, because that's a 5/7 is pretty solid right now.
Oh, it's a pretty good target. The best
Yeah.
target is Zero, because that's just AoE.
Yeah.
But
And-
the 5/7 is really sweet.
Yeah, he can actually, if he plays this correctly, he can make sure, depending on what he draws next turn as well, he can make sure the Samuro gets the hero power next, but I guess he's not necessarily in a situation where he has to worry so much about that yet. So,
True.
like, he's getting very fortunate that the Giants have not been drawn or played yet, so that's going to help for him. It's really just a matter of having the board presence, because he, like we see here, Clarity's got a pretty solid board right now, but he's also got both of those Libram of Hopes, and they are not, they are definitely going to be useful in their own right. So the board clear here is nice, but as we see, sorry, that's a 5/5. The mostly a board clear is nice, but yeah, anybody else want to see what Clarity can do now? Because the answer is quite a lot.
Yeah. There's just so much that you can do here.
It's pretty
Well,
good.
play the Libram first, so that's free. No. Okay.
No. Don't play the Samuro. No, hold on to that.
No need for the sound this turn.
Oh,
But fine.
dear God. I mean, I
Fine.
do. Oh, I see what he's doing. Okay, yeah, he can't actually clear the board. Wait, what? Oh boy,
You don't.
Clarity. Oh
can
boy,
trade
Clarity.
Totally
Yeah, like
fine.
I think he missed that, because all he has to do is just trade his hero power into it, and he didn't even need to play the broom.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
okay.
Charges. He takes half damage.
And there's the Giant, but I mean, look at this board. Like, Clarity's in a really good spot, but it's like he could have definitely gave himself more ammunition. He just happens to be fortunate enough that he's developing a big board. That handlock in general is often going to have struggles clearing. That's one of their biggest problems. They can develop big boards pretty easily, but they often don't have like an immediate answer to like a really large board, as we've seen from from playing, from our share of testing and from watching other matches.
For sure. And now the issue is you're going to need to do it a few times in a row.
Yeah.
And that's going to be hard.
Yeah.
The Flash Giant is easily killed by the pupil that can be healed first, or
Right.
by carry.
Yep. Now I do like that Clarity did see he could attack with it first, and then get more value, and not only being able to buff up his the pupil, but he's also able to play more cards in a turn thanks to the carry discount. I will say I think he should have played the Libram of Hope here just to further advance his board, but this does work.
Yeah. Now, how do you win the Warlock at this point?
I mean, I feel like Roadrunner kind of. Well, I mean, the problem is this is risky because he can't clear the entire board. Oh wait, scratch that. Yes, you can. Sometimes my math skills don't always come into play.
Yeah, but at this point, are you going to win? Like, how do you even win here?
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, he doesn't win now because, well, sadly for Roadrunner, he's going to find out Clarity has double Libram of Hope. Is he only going to play one of them? Interesting. See, this is one of those situations where if he was playing against Control Lock, I'd understand holding one back, but, this is not a deck that has mass removal. You're absolutely not overcommitting if you play both Librams.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I do in some respects, in some ways, respect the cautious play, but it's obviously not going to really benefit him here. But at the same time, fortunately for him, this is not a situation that is going to backfire on his favor, because as we see, Roadrunner, while he does have the backfire, that is not going to be nearly enough damage, even without the damage cut in half from the hero power from the weapon to win. So Clarity is going to tie up the series 2-2, and we are looking at a game 5.
Yeah. Now, what are their classes for Game 5? Do you know? We have a Druid by Roadrunner versus Clarity's Paladin. Do you have any idea what the Druid for Roadrunner is?
Well, considering the tech choices we've seen from Roadrunner and how he's been really trying to cater his decks for these matchups, I could see it being Beast Druid, or I could see something being a bit slower, like a Celestial, or what's the other Druid that's going around that doesn't play Celestial Alignment but is on the slower side?
Oh, really weird play by Clarity there, throwing away the Barov. If you think this is good, you keep Barov.
Yeah, no, Barov is one of those cards where it's never a bad thing to hold on to it. But I also do understand that some people look at it as, well, how useful is Barov if you don't have like a broomstick to go with it? Like if you don't have some kind of follow-up play to clear the board. I disagree with the logic, but I see where he's coming from. But we see here from Roadrunner, it looks like he's playing a pretty standard Beast Druid list, with the exception of playing the Panther, of course, over the Kazakus.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think this is fine. Clarity's hand is decent. It's not great, but it can definitely do some damage. The thing that I'm definitely liking right now is that he has a Samuro in hand, and he has one of the Librams of Justice. Or sorry, is that not Justice? Libram of Wisdom. God, I don't know why I'm getting my names confused. But if he combos that correctly and uses it right, that can definitely prove to be a pretty devastatingly effective combo before Roadrunner's able to kind of solidify his board, which he's going to want to do, because we see his hand's got a bunch of pretty sweet cards, including the Matriarch and Composting.
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about one card, though, and a very sketchy play, in my opinion, which is Broom.
Yeah.
Broom is from behind, not ahead. You don't want to play Broom ahead, because
Agreed.
Broom retakes the board when you lost it.
Yeah. We saw it this last game, too, where it was a little puzzling that he played that. So, yeah, I'm a little surprised. I mean, he's not in a terrible spot, thankfully. He can absolutely clear this Panther, and obviously the Trog is helpful, but as he's going to see, Roadrunner does have the answer in the form of the 3-1 rush, so that's going to be pretty helpful.
Yeah. Now, don't hate Peasant. Knowing that he has Samuro means Peasant is a lot worse.
Yeah.
Sentry's Matriarch.
Right.
But the Samuro is a valid answer.
Yeah, I think you play the Samuro here. I think... Oh, okay. Huh.
Now, this means his opponent gets a composting turn if he gets any minion or
Right.
spell it. And that is one of them. That's
God. Yep.
adorable into the minion, and his opponent is not going to do it because no one likes my place today. Just go into composting. It's adorable into 1/1 into owl into composting.
God.
Hero power. You need to hero power. JR,
Well,
no one likes today.
No, well, in his defense, I see where he's. Wait, what? Okay, never mind. He lost me.
You don't. You really
No, I
don't.
don't. I don't think you do that. But I understand he wanted to hero power because his thought process was, well, I could clear. Like, he didn't. He was trying to. The problem was if he didn't hero power, he didn't have a way to clear that thing without losing the matriarch. So I think he was just trying to avoid that.
Now, there's a typical mistake people make, which is Samuro Noble Mount. And I might have made that.
Yeah, I've done it myself. I won't lie.
Yeah, I've done it way too many times. But are we going to see it on stream?
Oh God. Okay, looks like no.
No.
Thank God.
Thankfully, Clarity did know about the interaction that everyone's done that at least once. A part of
Yeah.
life.
I'm actually interested in the fact that Roadrunner decided to play the guff here and not really just develop a composting board as like the priority here.
Now, here's something important. In this deck, it's really, really important for you to, well, in any druid deck that plays composting, is just to get out of your composting. This has not
Right.
been something done.
Right. And while I think it was probably the most ideal turn to play Cariel there, it's unfortunately going to be less than ideal considering Roadrunner. Oh, okay, never mind. Actually, yeah, I guess maybe it is a bit too early to play the Arbor up. Like, he could have obviously put together a pretty decent composting board, but I guess he does want to give it a little bit of time. All right. Okay,
I
he's
feel
gonna...
like at that point, just composting for one is good enough because you're not going to do more than that. You've basically lost your chance
Right.
to compost for
And he could have
6 or something.
composted for 3 there, which I think is more than adequate. Like, don't get
Oh.
too greedy, even in a matchup like Paladin where you know they're not going to punish you for it.
Yeah, and right now, how are you ever going to get the board again? You're not. You're just not. They have Cariel. You just don't have the board anymore.
See, what I don't understand is why didn't he use the weapon on the 1/1, knowing board presence is so important? Maybe he's just getting a little nervous. I could totally understand that, but obviously you have to think about these things when it comes to like knowing what deck you're playing against.
I think the other perspective is that the game's over,
Well,
which is a bit to say, but I.
Huh. Now the question is, oh, okay, well, that's pretty decent. But he is not gonna. Yeah, he does not have a way to clear this. I'm trying to think. Does he have a way? Huh. I mean, I definitely like the Liadrin here. You've got enough cards that are going to make this worthwhile, but I'm trying to think, does he... No, he does not have lethal, of course.
I wouldn't have done it to that. Maybe that's like
Yeah. Especially because while the divine shield's on there, and he didn't need it in order to clear off the matriarchs, so...
No.
Wow, is he...
Also,
Oh, wow, he's just really going all face here. Okay.
I guess. I mean,
You know, in a certain way, I think that might actually be the right play. Because even if he buffs stuff up, like, he's not going to kill him this turn. He can't, so...
no. I do want to see peasant first. You always peasant first here.
Yes, you do. Because, like, what's the possible follow-up there?
Yeah.
Like, he's got enough mana to go peasant, arbor up, and then either composting or soul the forest, depending on what he's feeling like doing.
Yeah. I think you can go soul here. You don't need the composting, to be honest.
You've already got 3 cards worth of draw, three minions that'll let you draw anyway, so it's pretty fine.
That said, you're still losing.
Yeah, there's the unfortunate reality of he does not have a way to clear enough of this board. He doesn't have a way to fully clear this board, and we can see from Clarity's hand he's got so much power, so much buff that it's gonna be tough.
I want these things.
I think, but I gotta see something because Because the problem is, actually, I don't think it does because the Noble Mount will spawn a minion, and that's pretty much all he needs right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's not
Yep.
direct, or they're still lethal.
Yep. Just enough, I think.
I haven't done any math, but yeah,
I have. Just enough.
I trust you.
He had 6 on board. He had 4 on board. He just needed 6 more damage. He's got enough. He's definitely got enough. So a rocky series, definitely had its share of questionable plays on both sides. But Clarity is going to take this one 3-2 and get himself a very nice victory, cementing his record at 4-1 going into the end of week 5.
Yeah, and I'll get back to something I said before that I think is kind of the main highlight for Clarity and for Roadrunner here is don't forget about tempo. It's very easy to forget about tempo, but playing well-statted cards on curve is good for a reason, and we get nervous and forget to do it all the time. I've done it. I'm sure Fish and JR have done it as well. It's just important to always go back and think, is there a way I could have gotten more tempo? And was the punish big enough that I shouldn't have done it? Which I don't think in any of these decks it really was.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing about evaluating your plays, because you want to, even if a play didn't necessarily get you punished, you always want to be thinking about what is the most optimal play given the circumstances, given what you know about the opposing decks, just various factors along those lines.
Hi,
And I
guys.
see we brought Clarity into the group.
So if you guys kept my camera up the whole time, you've met my co-op partner.
Yeah, his daughter has been like in and out.
My
It's-
3-year-old daughter would not stay in bed.
It's yeah. Start of the show.
So it's terrible.
So yeah, congratulations
How-
on your win, man.
So, would you like to tell them that I won because of you? Because after I won that last game, I won, and she goes, "I did that for you."
Aww.
So,
There's
wanna say hi?
too much cuteness here tonight. Stop it.
okay, say hi.
Hi.
Oh my god, that is an adorable child.
Aww.
Yeah, she's my pride and joy. She was with me for 4 of the 5 games.
That's awesome.
Aw.
Yeah,
She likes
she's,
Hearthstone?
She's my unofficial THL co-op partner. So
We'll let it slide for now. Just
don't
for
tell
now.
R-Hat. Don't tell R-Hat. I don't want to get banned.
I'm
Nah,
telling
you're good.
I don't want to
Arhat
get
now.
DQ'd.
Trust me, you're good.
You know. So,
All right. Yeah.
but yeah, that was tight, man.
You're not even playing it.
I know. I'll play in a minute.
The sass. I love it.
Oh man.
How
So,
are you feeling?
let's talk about that match though, because
Okay.
it was there was a lot of back and forth throughout the entirety of that. You definitely saw that.
Yeah, I felt it too. Like I got a little bit tilted on Warlock versus Paladin because I drew through the entire top of my deck, and until the end, I don't know where or how I won that, but I did. Getting the shaman through was kind of a surprise too. His shaman was really hard for me to beat.
I was gonna
What?
say it seemed like you were in that game 2. It could have ended up being a repeat of game 1, but
Mhm.
fortunately for you, you were able to like play that aggressively enough where he didn't really have the opportunity to make any of those big plays.
Yeah,
Especially
my
because
friend
of
Ron
the way
Mexico
he
said we go
overloaded
face.
himself. I mean, Ron is rarely, if ever, wrong. So
Yeah, I mean
That's
that's
fair.
pretty much it.
Where's my haircut?
Oh
You
my
dropped
God.
it. Here's another hair tie. Here you go. We only have
Lotus,
4,000
I'll bring it
views.
to you. I'm sure you had more
You can see
questions of your own that you wanted to ask about this.
Can you braid my hair, Daddy?
Yeah, I'll braid your hair as soon as we're done.
Oh right, Lotus is went BRB for a
Can
moment.
you braid my hair when you're done? Can you braid my hair now?
I'll braid your hair as soon as we're done, baby.
Oh my
Promise.
goodness,
I love you.
this is too wholesome, man. I can't take it.
She's supposed to be in bed an hour ago.
Uh huh. Oh my. Well,
Single
so
dad
here's
life.
Well, I guess the other question I wanted to know was like with some of these plays,
Mhm.
there was one we were saying that there were a couple plays we were kind of like questioning here and there, but there was
Mhm.
one I have to ask you about because we were trying so hard to understand it. What was up with that Druid game where you didn't play the 1/1 beast that came off of the buff spell?
I don't know. I better
Fair.
lines.
We were just
Um,
confused because we saw several perfect openings to play it.
Yeah, and I just. Oh, you talking about Ivar?
No. We were talking about the one. You know how I forget the name of that spell. The 1 mana 1/1 buff that gives you a 1/1 hand.
Oh, Adorable Infestation?
Thank you. I don't know why I'm forgetting the names all of a sudden. But yeah, you played Adorable Infestation, and you didn't play the Cub.
Yeah.
See, so what happens is
Daddy,
when you have a
can I
3-year-old
toy?
and
Yeah.
she's in your lap and asking for hair ties and pretending to be sleeping and making you laugh and this, that, and the other, you forget that Adorable Infestation generates a 1/1 that you could play and possibly buff with Arbor Up future in the future of the game, and you just don't
Hey, Daddy.
do the correct things.
Daddy.
Yes,
That's
my love.
fair.
Our hair.
Yes, you can have another hair tie. Here you go.
Now, I have
my-
one question for clarity here.
Mhm.
I want to ask what is the secret to coming back after a break and starting at 4-1?
That's a good question.
You're looking at it right now, my co-op partner.
Aww.
So I play. This is all right. This is gonna get sappy. Okay. So
Lotus and I are okay with that, and I think Fish is too.
So she,
Yeah.
The whole reason I play the shaman deck is because my daughter is a very, very big Frozen fan. So
Aw.
I play the freeze shaman with Wild Paw Cavern and
Nice.
give her the opportunity to freeze my opponent's face with her Elsa powers. And
Sure.
that's what I do. I play with her most of the time. Which is why I'm still in Bronze 2 this season, because we don't just play video games. And it just, I've always done better in Hero. I bring the decks that I'm comfortable with, and I make the best play I can come up with on a turn. And when in doubt, I ask my daughter what card I should play, and she picks the one she thinks is prettiest.
Aw.
So have a 3-year-old, ask him what
Sure.
card is pretty, and play that one.
That's fair. That's a fair method. I'm pretty far from that.
I'm not gonna
but
argue with that. It's too cute. It's too
Yeah.
cute for me to argue with.
And hey, it has been working.
I mean, it's doing good. I'm doing good in Pro. I'm doing good in Legacy. I'm doing good everywhere. So it works. You can have another hair tie, darling. Here you go.
So, Clarity, final thing I want to ask you before we go to our second match. We'll unfortunately not be able to just stay talking for a long time as I would wish us to do. But
Right.
any shout out you want to give, anything you want to say.
So the guys at No Pros here have been great. They answer questions. I got DQ'd week 2 because I overslept my match time. Otherwise, hopefully, I'd be undefeated. Quaz, I'll get you in the playoffs when we get there.
Oh snap!
Gonna smoke it. But they've been really cool with me. They've answered questions. I've been able to like witness their prep and prepare for my matches accordingly. I'm really glad to be on No Pros. The problem is we're doing really, really good, and it's probably not going to be able to be the team next season because I would like to play for them. So I might have to come back and play for you next season again, JR.
Ha! I mean, well, to be fair, now I'm not a captain for hero teams, so I will put in a good word for you, but I can't make any promises.
Right? No, yeah, I hear you. I appreciate you guys, and thanks for being patient in between games when I tried to get my daughter to go to sleep.
I was wondering what that was about, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I kept trying to put her in bed in between games, and it just wasn't working. And it just she came back. She jump scared me 3 times on the screen because she'll
Oh my
she'll
god.
come and she'll poke her head around the corner and then she'll
But
darling.
how do you say no to such an adorable child?
I mean, she's in my lap and it's 9:15.
There you go. There you go.
You just don't.
Yeah,
And
I'm not even a parent, and I get it.
Yeah, man, it's a good life to lead. So all you guys that are thinking about having kids, don't have kids, or whatever.
Shut your mouth.
Cool.
You don't mean that.
They're cool. They're great.
Thank you for coming on, though. We do appreciate it. And again, congrats on a very big win for you this week.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you very much. It was hard fought. Roadrunner is an excellent player, and I enjoyed it.
Y'all made it
one more
interesting,
hair
that's
tie,
for sure.
and we're going to bed. All right, guys. Peace
care,
and
man.
love. Have a good one.
Clarity.
See
JR, I want to ask you here.
Yeah.
Monday is our next
Hold on, you're fading. Can you repeat that?
Sure. Donde is our next match.
Oh, that's right. It's
Yeah.
Donde versus the Chosen Pie.
We have Donde versus the Chosen Pie, and Mako would be so happy with my Spanish here. Sure, I'm making him very proud to sing one word in Spanish as I did for a whole show. But that is quite a match. Let's take a look at what's going on in Legacy. The Zilfs are a dominant team.
They're killing it.
Gold and
When
silver
are they
right now.
not, though? They're generally they're generally a force to be reckoned with, is what I would say.
Last season they had a bit of a light season. They didn't want to do much, but they have their first match of the week against All Points Matter
Yep.
with Dante facing the Chosen Pie.
Yeah, and as we've talked about this on Tavern Talk. This is the first time in quite a while that the Zilfs. Actually, no, this is the first time ever that the Zilfs have altered their roster by more than one player.
Nice.
Generally, when they've made changes, they've made very slight changes of one player. But this time around, we had 2 changes because now they've got Vino Spumoni in the 2 in place of Jammies, and Chronic, or previously known as the Chronic, in the 4 seed in place of Anful. Which, I mean, you basically took 2 solid players they left and replaced them with 2 solid players. It doesn't really get more simple than that.
No, and in the meanwhile, the opposite of No Pros here, captained by Bone Masher, Captain Extraordinaire, has Avi and Cheesy 10, the Chosen Pie, 2-star Mako, and Laughing Frog, and they haven't been horrible, but they haven't had the hottest start.
Right.
Having a win against the Zilfs would basically put them at another level. So I think this
Yeah.
team is very motivated. And they're not doing any prep because Avi doesn't prep and Mako doesn't prep. But
Which I never understood from either of them, but I digress.
hey, not everyone preps. I haven't been prepping as much as I used to, but Pro is very different than the other
No,
series.
but I guess what I'm saying is I always find at least some communication to be helpful, and they just seem to have such a grasp on the game that's beyond anything I can relate to.
Hey, they won Hero with me in a season that they barely communicated, so they managed to do it. I can't complain.
Yeah.
That said, we have Donde and the Chosen Pie, and we have a Demon Hunter Paladin Rogue Shaman versus Druid Hunter Rogue Shaman. Now, I'm not a Legacy player this season. That's my disclaimer for not knowing everything that you should know about Legacy. But my question for you, JR, is Rogue Ban or not Rogue Ban?
I mean, it's weird to think that there's a possibility. It's weird. There are some scenarios where the rogue ban is not necessary, but it feels like here, rogue ban more often than not, it feels like that's what we're getting.
Yeah. I don't know what are the scenarios where you don't ban Rogue.
Honestly, the only first of all, it would have to be Legacy for me.
I would have made a case. I would have made a case that this game that Chosen Pie didn't have to ban Rogue. I think Fel DH destroys, like, that Fel DH is so good into 2 of his decks that you could just ban Demon Hunter potentially.
Yeah. But Legacy, it's always harder to figure out the ban because you're not necessarily banning a class that is going to, like, even when you're thinking about what to ban,
You're
a
trying
class
to
that's left up is not going to necessarily have such a big impact.
No, but if you can see a potential like a lineup that can sweep one of your decks, you want to try and eliminate one of those. You want to try and eliminate maybe perhaps the best matchup. So like I think Donde definitely can just kind of pounce on Hunter in this lineup.
Mm.
So I would maybe not necessarily. It's Druid or Hunter, depending on the deck. But yeah, I'll let you guys continue.
Yeah, but
No, I
maybe
appreciate the
now
thoughts.
listen to me for 1 second, JR. Maybe, just maybe, this is an Ickman Hunter.
Oh,
I'm sorry,
maybe.
what?
Big Beast Ickman Hunter.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I have tested that version, and I
Yeah.
do like it in some situations.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's one of those things where it's like I'm not very high on Hunter in general right now, so I go back and forth on what do I think is like the way to go. You know, the best, the right scenario to bring something like that. So
Sure. I will note, just as a fact, Big Beast Hunter is good into Demon Hunter and Paladin.
right.
And Hunter is bad into Demon Hunter and Paladin. So that's my argument. Do I think it will happen? No, it's definitely not happening. But can I be hopeful for a second here?
What?
So I am really hoping to see an Ickman Hunter here. And if we see Ickman Hunter, I would hope some kind of Druid. Not really Beast. I think maybe Ramp might be better. I'm not sure. And Shaman. Honestly, Shaman, you can just go with Freeze here. Freeze is fine. You can go with Bolner. Bolner is probably fine as well. Yeah, Bolner's probably fine. So I wonder if Chosen Pie is actually going to pull the crazy strat and bring very non-standard decks against Donde to try to get him out of his game. I'm hoping the answer is yes. I don't think it is. I hope it is.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like
They
they've
haven't
started yet. Okay, there
Is
we
it-
go. So let's see what we've got in store.
Yeah.
All right, so the Chosen Pie is starting off with Druid, and we see Donde is starting off with Demon Hunter. Now, looking at the hands, the Chosen Pie seems to also be going for the Beast Druid the Beast Druid route, but we see he's playing a few interesting tech, at least one tech choice in the form of what's that card? So, I know what it does. I always just forget the name. And then we see Donde seems to be playing pretty standard Fell Demon Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to be unsure of what to mulligan, though.
They go for Soul the Soil so they can play 2-mana Pirate that breaks the spell.
Ah. Right. That's an option. I forgot about that. All right,
Yeah.
so we see the moves on Donde. He's got himself a pretty decent hand. He's got part of his main win condition, and obviously against a deck like Druid, you're definitely going to he'll definitely have he won't have trouble finding minions to run into to build up his hero power, but obviously he's got to get that combo ready first. Meanwhile, the Chosen Pie, he decided to mull his entire hand, and he does have a pretty good start though. So
Don't get the Beast Druid, but that said, Donde has one problem, which is just the position of that expendable performance.
yeah.
Your left side, it's a really good card, but if it was anywhere else in your hand, it would be way better than this early where it's going to be stuck on the left really soon. You don't want it stuck on the left so you can trigger Skull, so you can trigger Chaos Leech. Basically, your whole thing is triggering these effects.
Yeah, but in fairness, you know, the problem is like having that in the early game is always going to be somewhat of a problem regardless, purely because you know, once you like get rid of the other cards to the left of it, it's still going to be stuck in your hand. Like there's no way to easily get it out. So it's kind of disruptive no matter how you slice it, but I do see where you're coming from there.
Yeah.
The good news is oh, no, go ahead. Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, that's fair. But the good news is Donde does have a good way to get some early board clear going. And we do see he also has the talented Arcanist for any possible big board clears that he wants to do later on. Like he currently doesn't have a spell to really combo with it, or at least an AoE spell to combo with it. But I think he's it seems like he should be fine for now.
Yeah.
I don't think he really has a ton to worry about at the moment. Obviously, we see that the Chosen Pie can coin into Arbor Up next turn, but I don't think it's going to be worthwhile, even if he does have the 2/2 as one thing to buff. It seems like we're gonna just see him developing his board in some other form first.
Yeah, I don't see Arbor Up happening yet.
No.
The Fellscream Blast is really good for later. Arcanist Fellscream Blast clears.
Right.
Especially into Druid, where a lot of their minions are 3 health minions.
Exactly. It's like that's Fellscream Blast plus Arcanist is going to be a play he absolutely is going to want to do after Arbor Up, because he knows that 2 of them, there will be at least 2 minions he can clear that are going to be threats. So he definitely doesn't want to play it too early. Personally, I think the play here is to go for a Illidari Studies, knowing that there's probably something decent he could play this turn. Not the greatest of options here. I think he should probably go for the Sigil Runner.
I agree. You wanted card draw. You really wanted Kurtrus. Kurtrus would have been fantastic.
Oh my god, Kurtrus would have been amazing there, no question. But that's a pretty solid draw too.
You can just clear and say, I'm going to keep the board clear. That I'm happy with that.
Honestly, I think that's what you do here. I think you're not really looking to combo it with the Arcanist. You clear off 2 minions that you know it's going to be good. And of course, you can save that hero power for another turn as like another possible free removal, free weapon of removal, basically. So I like that a lot.
Yeah. Now, here you could go for just dropping the Druid of the Reef and the Matriarch as 2 big bodies.
Yeah.
I like it. I kind of want to go Coin Evis later.
Yeah.
For now, keep developing, put a beast down.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. The big draw of a play like that is that you get a pretty established board, but you also leave yourself open to you prevent yourself from extending. And you know, obviously holding on to the coin, like you never know what kind of plays you will allow yourself to do with that, where you might need that extra mana. So, okay, I see he is in fact gonna just go for the owl. I guess I see where he's coming from. But
yeah, that does give Donde a well-timed removal with Fellscream Blast if he wants to, and I think he does.
Yeah, I feel like he's probably thinking to himself, "This is too good of an opportunity," and he's also probably thinking to himself, "If he arbors up here, they suddenly get out of range of that play." So it seems like that's probably ideal.
I agree.
He knows if he doesn't do something about this board, he is pretty screwed. So
other problem is 4. 4 health is a much harder thing to deal with right now.
yes.
It's hard to deal with 4 health minions.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Donde's hand is also a little bit awkward right now due to the fact that he doesn't really have the best follow-up plays. He does, of course, have the Fury and the Chaos Leech for possible additional removal. But that Skull is placed rather awkwardly due to the fact that he has to play it from the right side, and that depends on whether or not he can draw something cheap enough that would allow him to play in the same turn he gets it, which I mean, I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah.
And we see Chosen Pie actually gets extremely fortunate with those ability rolls on Ivus, as he's able to get Divine Shield, 2+2/+2, and Rush, which he wasn't guaranteed. He needed to get that specific combo, and he got it. So good on him for making that work. Actually, no, sorry, he could have gotten the. He just needed the Rush and the +1/+1, so the +2/+2. So not too difficult, but yeah, this is a little awkward now.
I think you
As
just
I
go
stated.
just tilt your
Yeah.
minions. Next turn you win because expendable performers, they're not going to have a board that has more than 14 health.
Right.
To the point that if you play expendable performers, you're going to win the game.
But that's the tricky part because, playing a bunch of 1/1s is nice, but how much does it actually help you if you don't have the hero up?
And you're going to be able to skull the turn after. I think it's totally fine.
Yeah. So we see there, Chosen Pie is kind of running low on cards, so he is going to go for the Arbor up. I think here he then plays the Nature's Growth. I think you take the partner assignment here, just so that you have a follow-up with the composting if somehow Donde manages to clear this board.
Sure. I really don't like hitting face. You're playing right into expendable performers. If you didn't, it would have been way better.
Yeah, I think, though, he's probably thinking to himself, I don't mind if he uses up one expendable performers here, knowing it's not really going to contribute to a combo. Like, yes, you're right. Obviously, he's able to get the board. He's able to get the second effect of it, but yeah.
With 5/5, this is just 5/5s on the board right now.
That's true.
You win. That's enough to bother your opponent to a point where it's trouble.
Yeah, no, he definitely should have kept it stealth, but I can understand how he probably wasn't thinking about it the way.
Oh yeah.
But obviously, yeah, not only, and also as as we see, that expendable performance play also opens him up to Skull now, which is going to be the perfect play for next turn. So Donde right now looking like he is in fantastic shape.
Yeah, just play Skull. I mean, it's been the Demon Hunter recipe for a little bit. Just play Skull and win.
I mean,
yeah.
And the best part is he can play Skull, and then he can also play the Fell Barrage, which I think is going to be worth playing here. Oh, we see he gets a discount on the Kurtrus. Wow.
And a Skull.
And another Skull, yeah. Yeah, I think you just play the Fell Barrage, throw a few of your minions in there. And you do let him draw a couple cards, but I mean, this is going to be pretty. Like this is actually the sort of play that I should have really thought about more in advance with the expendable performers, because he had the Skull after, and if he could just draw into the Kurtrus, suddenly those 1/1s can do even more than they were before.
And not only just the Kurtrus, it's not just about taking damage. It's just there's so much board control now.
Right.
Like next time we can see Fury, Imoara, Kurtrus, Skull. That's actually a valid turn.
Yeah, that is true.
Survives in no situation against this as a druid.
It's pretty nuts. No questions there. And obviously, as you talked about before, Beast Druid doesn't exactly have any kind of AoE to stop a board of 1/1s, so that is also something to consider.
Yeah.
Chosen Pie really not sure what he wants to do about this Moonlit Guidance. I mean, he could play the Kennels, which does give him some board presence, but also the second one is just going to be dead in hand for a while. He could go for Peasant, which isn't necessarily ideal if Donde has any kind of AoE, not to mention he's already got the 2 1/1s. He does end up going with the Kennels and plays it. But at this point, I mean, we see, especially with the Kurtrus, it's going to be a very uphill battle for the Chosen Pie at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. He's playing like Throwdown. I was not expecting that.
But I wouldn't mag. I think you can just go Fury, Imoara, Kurtrus, and then Skull. That's good enough. That wins the game.
I was just going to say, he has just enough mana. Yeah, he has exactly enough mana to play all those cards.
Yeah, the only argument against it would be you're getting a better Fury next turn, but do you care about one damage? You don't. You're
I
winning anyway.
I don't think you do. Plus, you could actually play the Fury and attack first before you play the. Oh wow, he's gonna play Magtheridon. It looks like.
I
Oh,
really don't.
what?
There's no good reason to do this.
Oh, I see what he's doing though. I don't agree with it, but I see what he's doing there. Because he has the second because he has the second immolation aura, so he knows he can play it. I mean,
but I really don't like
mean,
this.
yeah, I mean, I get where he's coming from, but at the same time, I feel like Magtheridon's main focus is about playing it so that you can clear your opponent's board and put a big minion on the board. And while obviously we know the Chosen Pie is going to have a hard time dealing with minion in any way, shape, or form, it also doesn't seem like he needed to play that to kind of put himself in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I think you're already winning anyways. Why take the risk of losing all your AoE into the small chance that your opponent has a way to get a board?
Exactly.
It's going to happen. I think you win anyways. I just don't think you needed to do
Yeah.
It's just what you could have done.
And this is also, if we're being honest, this is also probably a prime example of why that was not the best idea, because we look at this board now and Donde clearly wants to go face with the Magtheridon, but he's also dealing with a wide board, and he doesn't know this. Chosen Pie does have an Arbor up, but I think that's also one of the reasons why you want to build a Magtheridon for something like that. So, yeah, it's a bit tough. I mean, it's not terrible, thankfully, because of he does have, of course, the Arcanist, and he can use the blast to clear off 3 of the minions, buff up one of the 5/4 rushes to clear off the Mukla, so it's not too bad. But yeah, it's not ideal either.
Well, this was such a dirty turn. You could have gone first for the just kill the 2/1/1s, the Marshall Cubs,
Yeah.
and then play the Fell Scream to kill all the stealth and the well, and you would have 2 5/3s. That's way better.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. That was really the advantage of trying to do that next turn. Now, again, fortunately for Donde, though, he did have the answers, so it did work out for him, but that could have gone wrong very quickly.
Yeah, he did also miss lethal.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right, because of Fury. Oh.
Manas could have gone to Mag. There was enough mana to do everything. Maybe not, but
I mean,
I think that
hold on.
With Deadeye, with Deadeye it was super close.
With
yeah.
Deadeye, it was, yeah, because then he could have played everything. Yeah, okay. You know what? I'll be honest though. I'm guilty of doing that too. It's like sometimes you find yourself
it's hard to find.
like you're so focused on board control that you you sometimes miss or almost miss having lethal. But as we see, that's thankfully not going to punish Donde. He's going to take game 1 against Chosen Pie, knock out his Druid, and he's going to stay on the Demon Hunter going into game 2.
No, this is Legacy.
Oh, my God, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. We see Donde is now done with his Demon Hunter deck, and Chosen Pie is either going to stay on Druid or maybe go to a different deck. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, Legacy, there's less of an argument about queue order and what you should do at each point. That said, knowing that you're going to face either a Paladin or a Shaman would mean I would stick to the Druid myself. Argument to go for the Shaman directly, but I think you can stick with the Druid and get another shot.
I think if Chosen Pie is Quest Shaman, he should probably just play that because it's fine. Like you could get either a mirror or you're getting into Paladin, which is a good matchup personally. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I could also see just going for the Quest Shaman if he brought Quest. And well, sorry, Donde did. He went for the Hunter, which is fairly unfavored in Quest Shaman, as long as Quest Shaman plays Canal Slog. That was a good pick by Donde. The question is, do you keep it? Jared, what's your thought? Do you keep Canal Slogger?
Um, yeah, you definitely do in this matchup. Um, it's unfortunately one of those scenarios where it's obviously not the most ideal card in terms of your curve, but one way or another, that card is going to be essential to at least keeping yourself alive. Even if you end up losing, I don't think you're going to regret this. Plus, as we see, Donde has a pretty solid hand. Oh, dear God, the Trog.
Yeah,
No.
try to do a Trog.
No. Oh. You know, I was going
Trog
to
run.
say, as soon as I was going to say Donde has a decent hand, look what happens.
That's the thing. It's quest decks are kind of countered by Trog on 1.
Yep.
Because basically say you're not playing your quest.
Yeah, well,
And
the problem is Trog at least isn't as broken as before, but being able to make a board of 1/2s that just keep hitting your face is still pretty solid.
yeah, how do you stop this?
I've dealt with this before. The answer is you don't.
One of the ways is you go command the elements anyways and try to guidance out and out.
But the problem is
Sounds
you're giving them 3 more Trogs in the process.
That's the issue. You need an out that AoEs. You need 2 mana land whatever, landslide.
Landslide or Perpetual Flame.
So I think if he just hero powers here and then coins out Canal Slogger, there's 1 Trog left. And
Yeah, but then that's still potentially a problem is the thing.
I mean, he just gets 1
I mean,
Trog, and then it's pretty removable later.
Yeah. God, I feel for Donde so much. But I think this is the right play, unfortunately. Ooh, Torrent is good.
I said there were already 4 Trogs on board.
Yeah.
You need Flame. Flame is a must here. Also, there's a card that is really good in Hunter that people don't talk about as much, and I feel like we can do a good job of talking about it right now, JR.
What card is that, Lotus?
Let's talk about Rifle. Rifle is the best card in, I think, many metrics in Face Hunter.
Yeah.
This is a card that just can do so much. I think people underestimate how good 2 secrets are. Especially, there's a low number of secrets right now. So many times you get the perfect one you're looking for.
Right.
It's very reliable.
But I think we could both agree what really put that card over the top was the new secret that counters spells.
Well, I think that card was already over the top, but yes, I agree with you.
No. I mean, like, putting Rifle over the top. Because Rifle was already very strong, like you said, in terms of being able to get you the right secret. But being able to kind of get you a card that was a bit more reactive to, like, other scenarios, like, that was pretty strong when you think about it.
Oh, sure. I agree with that. But I think it was already good, it became better. And
Yeah.
it became dangerous.
I would agree with that.
Now, welcome to Perpetual Flame Waiting Room.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised if he's actually playing that in his main deck. Oh, I see what he's doing. Okay. So now we can actually torrent the 3/5.
Yes.
And oh no, but it would still they would still spawn one, right?
No, they spawn pre-kill, I think.
No, I think it's post-kill. So I think it would still, yeah. I mean, I guess we'll find out because it seems like he's going to torrent now.
Yeah. See?
I mean, I still think it's the right play either way, just for the sake of taking damage off the board. But yeah, that's what I thought. Right. That was the thing that was interesting about Trog in the first place, because I think some of us forgot that, like, oh, if you just have a removal for it, it's pretty, you know, it's pretty manageable. But even that, it's still really strong. So
Yeah.
yeah. And here comes the Rifle.
Yeah, I think Trog is still really good. It is a
Well,
problem card in ways, but
oof.
this close the game.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that, um, ugh. I think the problem is, as tempted as Donde is to play Canal Slogger, he kind of knows he has to play that Feral Spirit instead.
Yeah.
So I think what he should do is play the Primordial Studies test for the secret. Okay, no, he's gonna play the Lightning Bolt. All right. Oh, I see. Because he wants to make sure he gets the first part of the quest completed. Okay, that does work out.
And it does also test for the secret.
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, he's still gonna have that problem of, as long as that freezing trap is up, that Canal Slogger is not getting anything done.
Yeah.
We see here. Chosen Pie is just shy of lethal, but very close. Very close.
I think you're pretty happy here. Just leave your opponent at 2.
Yeah.
Get another crit, cancel one of their spells.
Mm-hmm. I think now this is the point where Donde is like, I kind of know I'm screwed.
Well, he's known for him Torm 1. But yeah.
Yeah.
Never be afraid of your inner
Hmm. And that's gonna do it. No, none of those cards are even playable right now. Chosen Pie gonna tie things up 1-1. Hunter is out of the way. That leaves Donde. That leaves Donde with, excuse me, with Paladin and Shaman, and that leaves the Chosen Pie with Shaman and Druid.
Mm-hmm.
Going into game 3. So that game, it just seemed like that. I mean, what else can we say other than Trog plus Biscuit equals GG?
Yeah, I don't even know. Games like this, I don't know much what to say. Like, I could spend a while complaining how Trog is still broken. Do you want to hear that, JR?
It's busted in Hunter. That's really
Yeah,
I
that's
think
the
the
thing.
extent of it.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing. Trog in general is not that busted, but you can definitely find situations here and there where it just proves to be an utter pain. Like, because the interesting thing about that game in particular was, like, Donde drew the absolute worst possible hand against a turn 1 Trog. He didn't draw any immediate removal, and he didn't draw. He basically didn't have any way of just being like, well, I can wait until turn like 3 or something, or turn 2 to play some instant removal. And what made it even worse was the fact that he had the turn 2 Biscuit to make it even harder to remove. So, God, that was rough. But now we see Chosen Pie is going back into the Druid, and Donde is going to stay on the Quest Shaman.
Yeah. Now, Quest Shaman should have a pretty good matchup with Druid just because of how much removal you play. I don't know how much I like Chosen Pie's lineup, knowing what he's facing.
Yeah.
That said, we can see another Trog. Trog is a possibility in Druid.
Boy, would that be an interesting occurrence.
Trog is pretty good in aggro Druid as well, just as a way to get another book.
I guess we'll have to see, because this is a bit of an awkward hand for Donde, unfortunately. I mean, the Canal Sloggers are definitely good. Having that 6/4 rush can be extremely helpful, but it can also definitely be awkward. You definitely want to have some early game cards in that deck as well. So we will see. Fortunately for him, Chosen Pie doesn't have an amazing starting hand. This could get very strong very quickly if he draws the right cards, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
That is a good draw for turn 2.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Now,
Hmm.
but one of the wolves is going to die really easily. You can
Right.
go guide and hope you get something good, but that means you're not looking great. I think Coin Feral Spirits is correct.
It probably is. It's just extremely awkward because, like his next turn might be very awkward. I think it's definitely the right play. Oh, and you were right. He's playing the Jerry Rig Carpenter.
Yeah, I like just slamming Jerry Rig here. It's not great,
Yeah.
but
Honestly, I think it's fine. I think
Be scrappy with
I don't even think you give the attack buff.
no, you
Um,
summon a
yeah, just summon a dude, kill one of the 2/3s and end turn. I mean, you don't really have much to fear at this point. Unless he's really determined to clear the board, which I don't see why he would be. Okay, never mind.
don't like this, but fine.
I mean, it works. It's just I don't think he
Yeah.
really had much to fear.
Yeah, like right now, guidance could win. Like if guidance gives you anything really that
Yeah.
overloads, primordial studies is good enough because you might get
Yeah. You
like
might get the
spell damage guy.
novice zapper. Yep, which is exactly what he has. And I mean, yeah, I think in this particular situation, it's a no-brainer. Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, you know what? Right. It doesn't actually matter because it's free.
Yeah, because
So he's,
if you
yeah,
it's good enough.
right. He's taking more damage, but at the same time, he's not really losing anything from it.
Well, if you played it last turn, you could do it plus primordial studies, so you would get an additional primordial. But this is totally fine.
Oh, yeah, that's why I think I was expecting him to play it, but I mean, it still works. I can understand
Yeah.
if he wants to hold on to that. The Molten
Now,
Strike is actually also going to be very good because that'll help develop 1/1s to help deal with his board. So looking pretty decent right now, but I guess we'll see how the Chosen Pie chooses to react.
yeah. I don't necessarily hate Matriarch, but you're so far from getting it out. You didn't
I
have kennels
think,
early.
right? Yeah, because he's played like 3 beasts, so I think he wouldn't even be able to play it this turn.
No.
Yeah, it's only at 4. I mean, I guess if you had to choose none of those, great in that situation. So I guess just pick the one that you would rather have the most.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. This is going to be
Um,
pretty solid, though. Play the Novice and then play the Canal Slogger.
or you could even not do Slogger and go Molten Blast Lightning Boom.
Huh. That's actually a good point.
I don't hate that at all.
No, I don't either, actually, because then you clear the board, and you could actually save the Canal Slogger for next... You could still play the Canal Slogger next turn, potentially use it for something, like use it against a threat, like if he does play the Matriarch.
Exactly. Plus, 1/1s are annoying. Druid has no AoE.
Right, exactly. That's also one of the advantages to playing a card like that. It just has a lot of benefit to it. And we see Chosen Pie is going to go for the Ivus here. Now, I think because it's 4 mana, it's just guaranteed to be a 3/3 Taunt, Rush, Divine Shield. So,
Wait,
I mean,
it
that
always
works.
gets.
No, that wasn't guaranteed.
It wasn't? I
No,
thought it's
just
oh.
this is random. Yeah, but once he gets everything else, then he only gets attacked.
Yeah,
So it's
I
random.
thought.
Yeah.
No, but I thought it can't stack the attack until it's gotten the other abilities first.
No, I'm pretty sure it's not true because I've seen it not have Rush at bigger mana totals.
Okay, then all right, that's fair. I personally haven't seen that, so I'm surprised.
It usually doesn't happen, but it can, I think. I might be wrong, but
I believe it. I'm just surprised I haven't seen it already.
True.
So now we see the Chosen Pie is in a pretty strong spot because he can go Oracle into Umbral Owl next turn and just pretty much make a massive board.
He can go Oracle, Umbral, and Matriarch.
Right, exactly. Build his board with the owls, the matriarchs. Like at this point, Donde is probably just going to want to try to get the spell damage, and try to prepare for some kind of AOE at this point because it's going to be tough. but it is doable.
Now, if Donde has Thalnos and any kind of spell damage, this is clearable. The Steward of Scrolls is a really bad choice. I just want to note this. Donde has. Yeah, this is the kind of choice that you really didn't want to have to do because.
Actually, wait a second. Actually, I don't necessarily think that was the worst choice. Because here's the thing: if he played the Steward, he would have only cleared one of the 1/2s, and then unless he chose to run the 1/2 into the Steward, he wouldn't have had to wait. Oh, yeah, never mind. He still would have been able to play everything. Okay, never mind. Ignore my rambling. I thought I knew what I was talking about, and I did not.
You just want to take low mana because low mana here
Yeah.
does.
Well, right, no, especially because also if he wasn't going to play the Steward that turn, then he's just wasting it on a card, or what could have been a cheaper spell damage card to combo with the Perpetual Flame and Overdraft.
Yeah, that's the question. You really wanted to get spell damage. The best option was Guild Trader, but it wasn't there.
Yeah, that or Phoenix, which even then that probably would have been a little sketchy.
This would have cleared the board. Now, I do think you can go Fireheart here and just hope you can get Stall. So next turn you do it. Donda disagrees and gets nothing.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. I do think this is not a super common hand, but it is something that can happen.
I think his
just
best bet right now is maybe take the dunk tank and hope he can find a way to corrupt it.
Yeah, nothing's going to happen this turn. You're just going to have to hero power. And that's really bad.
Yeah, the worst part of this is he has if he had one more mana, this would be like a very different. Wait a second. Yeah, no, if he would still need one more mana. Ugh, just unfortunate.
Now, you can just Moonlit Guidance looking for an Arbor up. There it is.
There it is. And that's game.
That is game. That's exactly 30 damage.
I feel for Donde there, though, because he was one card away. He was one mana away from being able to clear that board.
He was too greedy, though. Taking that 4/4 was a lot of greed in a moment he didn't need it. He had good resources.
100% agreement there, but it's frustrating because, I honestly did not expect that to come bite him in the butt the way it did.
Yeah, that said, to my point earlier that matches are, you may get a different result. I think the Thalnos there would have been way better than waiting for that 4/4. Just, although there's no way of knowing the hand, spell damage was really important, and a 5 mana 4/4 is so slow that it opens you up to things like this.
Well, Donde is now put in a must-win situation where Chosen Pie's Shaman deck twice.
Yeah, and this looks to be either freeze or most likely Boner OTK.
It could definitely be either based on what I'm seeing so far.
I don't think Freeze is playing Diligent.
I think I've seen some lists playing it, but I could be wrong about that. It might just be Boulder OTK that's been playing the Note Taker.
Yeah. Also, there's the fact that Freeze has kind of fallen to the wayside compared to Bolner. This is Bolner. 100%
Okay,
Bolner.
yep, nope, now we know it's Bolner. The Yasharge is a dead giveaway, of course.
Job's done.
Yeah. Okay. So, no great hand from either side, although the Primal Engineer is very important early by the Chosen Pie.
Yeah. And he's got the Sleep Breaker to start turn 2. Pretty solid draw there.
Yeah.
I'm I'm trying to think. Do you just play? Do you want to coin here into Feral Spirit, or is it? No, I guess you just Primordial Studies, right? Yep.
Yeah, you
There's
just
the Zapper. Just gonna hold on to that.
Nature waits for no one but me.
it's a lot of freeze.
Well, I think this is. I mean, I think you could maybe. Do you maybe want to play the Perpetual Flame here? Probably your best opportunity to utilize it. You can also play the Zapper and the Guidance to clear the first part of the quest.
Yeah, I guess. I think this is good. Given that you got a Wildpaw Cavern, it's a really nice card.
Yeah.
So you can go Zapper, Perpetual Flame, and next turn you just play Cavern.
Yeah, I just personally I don't think you're gonna find a better scenario here. And obviously, in terms of mana efficiency, this is fantastic for Donde since next turn he'll have several different options that he can make on turn 4, and he still has the coin as well for. So, pretty ideal in his case.
That said, Chosen Pie knows how to draw. This has gone
Yeah,
from
he
a
does.
to a pretty good hand.
Yep.
And discounting the Yashard is pretty good because you might not even need a bloom anymore.
Right. The only problem is, if he that reduction is kind of useless unless he gets the second one on it as well. I mean, it wouldn't be completely useless, but when you get one reduction on it, you really want to get the second one too.
Yeah, agreed.
Interesting.
Not on it, but you can get your Cavern down.
And he is definitely going to do that. Now they both have a Cavern down.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
Donde is really he's like really getting through this quest pretty quickly at this point.
Yeah. Is Donde not running multicaster? That would make no sense. I'm sure it's not.
I'd be surprised. I feel like that's a must run in that deck just for the.
That is.
There's another Zapper. That's pretty solid. Actually, if he wants to, he can complete the second part of the quest.
Now?
Yeah. Because he can go Spirit into Zapper if he so chooses, but he also doesn't have to. Okay, he's going to hold off. Seems fair.
You can next
Seems fair.
drop the Slaughter. Now, his opponent may become a Freeze Mage at any minute, so the big question for his opponent is, when do I become Freeze Mage?
Right.
I don't think this is the turn, actually. There's no good reason to do it now.
Yeah. I mean, well, you could argue that getting that big minion on the board forces Donde to do something about it. And you could also argue that one of the advantages of doing it is if he decides to play it. Honestly, if I were him, I probably would have played it and not attacked, because then it would have instantly unfroze.
Fair.
But I guess he wanted to guarantee that he removed things, so I do get it. But now we see here, Donde has to figure out what does he want to do about the board, because one of the things that I actually think wouldn't be a bad play is maybe to go Zapper into the Vivid Spores, because at this point, Donde's not going to. I mean, sorry, go ahead.
I thought exactly the same thing.
Yeah, because at this point we know with Bolner OTK, it's not like there's a way to punish him. It's not like that he's going to have an easy way to get to Donde's face this way. And he also, if he completes the quest, okay, never mind. I was going to say, if he completes the second quest, he gets an additional minion that he can use it on. But I guess he doesn't want to complete it yet. Interesting.
His big fear is probably Brilliant Macaw, which we see just stopped it.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. My thought process was though, if he played the zapper and got the 3/3 taunt, he would have had 2 taunts that he would have needed to, or sorry, 3 taunts, 4 taunts he would have needed to get through before that 7/7 could hit face.
Sure.
But I can understand wanting to play a little bit more conservatively, just to have more options in the event that Chosen Pie plays that macaw, and suddenly you're like, uh-oh, big macaw.
Yeah, I do agree with you though. I would have done your play actually,
Yeah.
but I think the macaw, respecting macaw is never a bad thing.
No. And it is interesting how, because he opted to not play those cards, he actually does have a response to the macaw. Or he has enough
Yeah.
mana to respond to the macaw. Because he can go Canal Slogger, Serpent Shrine Portal, and then kind of figure something out for next turn.
Yes. Next turn, there's a good thing that there may be a quest done.
I'm trying to do the math here because he can actually complete the entire quest right now.
Yeah, but you want to do it next turn so you don't lose to mutinous.
That's also fair. And I'm trying to think, he could play it next turn. Oh, snap.
Remember the two-face investor? This might be good. Now,
Keyword being might.
yeah, it's a very bad card.
Oh,
See, it's a bad.
no!
Doesn't actually change anything. That card was
No, it doesn't, thankfully. The only way it probably would have mattered is if it increased the cost of Lightning Bloom or Zapper.
Yeah.
I feel like this was probably the right play, but I also don't necessarily know how much this does for the Chosen Pie right now.
The fact that you can heal your minions can be a pretty big deal.
That's true.
Or taunts. Taunts are always good.
Yeah, I think if he had more, if there was more to be gained from healing the board, that probably would have made sense. But I think he's seeing like, all right, I put up this 2/3 taunts. It's gonna make it harder for Donde to get to his Snowfall Guardian, which is the biggest threat right now. So I think it ended up working out. All right. So the good news is Donde can actually play. Oh my God! I'm just realizing he can actually play. No, Donde, no! He could have gotten out the quest. He could have gotten out the Brucon and played a charge call all in the same turn.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I wanted him to do.
Right? I didn't do that math wrong, right?
No, you're right. He can still get the Brucon out this turn, which I like.
This is true. I mean, I think it's definitely the right play. It's still pretty solid overall. I just hope he realizes he can get it out this turn, because I absolutely would do that if I was him.
I don't think he did.
Oh my God.
I do think your play is fine and probably correct, but he disagrees. Now, I want to note, although he has Bolner and Discharge, no corrupted card has been played by the Chosen Pie.
This is true.
So right now, the best thing to do is try to draw to get some corrupted cards. Something like Dungeoneer into Talon could be pretty good.
Right. Well, remember, the medic is an absolute requirement in the OTK, because it's the only way to constantly reuse Yasharge's effect. So he does, and he like, so even if he draws Dunk Tank, he's going to need that in conjunction with the medic for that to work.
That's true.
He does get himself a Lightning Bloom and another Snowfall Guardian, which could be pretty useful here.
Yeah. I personally just want to see the Talon, but I understand freezing, because freezing wouldn't freeze your ball and your staggered.
Exactly. It's like it buffs it up without actually being of a consequence to him. So I do feel like that's pretty important, but I guess he wants to save that for a more threatening scenario, so he's just going to heal up, and he's going to play the Wildpaw Cavern. Now, Donde obviously knows here that this is the perfect time for him to just... I mean, if I were him, I'd play the Lightning Bloom first, because there's no reason to, like, try to get double value off of it.
Usually there is. It's a pretty good card when you need a mana explosion.
No, I mean, in general, yes, but in this particular situation, I mean.
I would just go Zapper.
Okay, fair.
I think you want to save it for...
Oh, yeah, right, because he doesn't even need it to play that and the charge call this turn, so it actually works out perfectly.
The card that's going to win the game for Donde if he draws it is actually Instructor Fireheart, because those Lightning Blooms are 8 mana with Instructor Fireheart.
Oh yeah, that's right. So then the combos just become ridiculous. There is the rabbit. Oh wow.
Local R.
I feel like you go local art here, right? Yeah.
Yeah, just clear. You now have the board.
Yeah. I can't see a scenario though where he just doesn't play the second Snowfall Guardian here, but I mean it's not great. It's decent, but it's not great. Maybe play the Armor Vendor too, just to like give yourself more options. I mean, I'd give yourself more of a buff, more armor, I guess, you know.
Call the Armor Vendor first, so you can draw a Macaw and get a Macaw. Like you want more than more armor ups.
It's true. I guess we'll see what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
Looks like he's gonna play the Note Taker, but
Going for the
he's
sideboard.
only got the Lightning Bloom to play, so I'm surprised if he would actually do that. Oh, okay, he's gonna play the Guardian.
Card is not okay.
No, it's not, even at 6 mana.
No.
Every time somebody plays it against me, I think of that whole Tice quote of "Your turn."
Yeah. Donde is in the Instructor Fireheart waiting room.
That's one way of putting it.
Literally all you need is Fireheart.
Yeah.
It's really good at this point. Really good.
Honestly, I'm starting to wonder if he maybe should have just kept the overdraft, knowing he could have used that to clear off the Guardian.
Nah, he just wants Fireheart.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
That's fair. What do you do
At least
here,
that's
then, is the question.
hero power.
God, that feels depressing.
Yes, it does. You might need to Tidal Wave next turn. Ugh.
Not the worst thing ever, but yeah, not ideal either.
No, it's pretty bad.
Bad, just not the worst. We see, though,
Yeah.
that... And now we see the Chosen Pie does, in fact, draw the Circus Medic, so... It's one... Oh, dear God.
So this is... You remember that Wind Fury was a played card in Freeze Shaman.
Yep.
You'd actually make for this reason.
Exactly. It was an idea brought up as a replacement for Battlemaster, because the thought was, what kind of value, like, you're paying 6 mana to basically give the same value as a regular Wind Fury, and you know you're rarely going to ever get much more benefit from having Battlemaster able to give two minions Wind Fury at once.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awkward.
Yeah. Chain Lightning is pretty decent.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, wow, that's game. Chosen Pie is going to take it. Oh, wait, no, sorry. He does not have enough mana. My apologies. My apologies. If he
Yeah,
had one more mana, that would have been lethal.
sure. Sleep Breaker's really good. That's what you're looking for.
You absolutely are, but question is, can he draw? What can he draw off of that?
Well, he just needs it stalls and draws. It's good
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Your opponent still hasn't played corrupt stuff. You have a few turns.
Yep. He also might just go for the. I'm starting to wonder, maybe he's just planning to go for the tidal wave right now. No, he's not. He's not.
Health.
Frostbite's sharper than fang.
Just win chill.
Yeah.
Worst case, if you don't hit anything, you can always go coin time.
Those are some pretty solid draws.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, potential. The Slugger's great. The Zapper is obviously not as great, but if he does draw the Overdraft, it's going to be pretty solid.
Yeah. This is still a Instructor Fireheart waiting room, and wind chills are great.
It does have a nice ring to it. Instructor Fireheart wave.
Yeah, and it is. There's just you really want that card, right?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And now we see here the Chosen Pie is going to just clear the entire board with Perpetual Flame, which is admittedly a little bit risky, but he can probably afford to do it.
Yeah, Dante can tidal wave if he wants to. That's a way he can basically get the board back.
Yeah,
Doesn't draw anything good.
I feel like that's probably what you do here. Oh, there's the
Yeah,
multicaster.
Multicaster's so good next turn.
Yeah, I think you just tidal wave and just go
Well,
crazy next turn.
Caster here. There's no rush.
Yeah, there's no rush here. And let's be honest, okay, he's gonna go for the multicaster. All right then.
I've heard of it.
There's the Overdraft. Perpetual Flame. I think that's lethal. Lotus.
I'm sure it is. This is just Zapper, Perpetual Flame, Lightning Bloom,
Yeah,
and go crazy.
The fact
Just-
that I know it's lethal just from that fact alone, is kind of insane. But
Right?
yeah, because as all of you watching probably know, you can have a ton of overloaded mana crystals, even if you technically don't have enough mana crystals to be overloaded. It is absolutely insane.
Yeah, and there was no Fireheart, which would have been
Oh
lethal.
no, it's not lethal. Okay.
No, because you just get once. If there was a Fireheart, that would have been lethal, but there was no time for Dante to play it.
Nope. No, honestly, it was also that I thought for some reason that he that even like not because of the double, but because I think there was I miscounted the amount of mana crystals that were overloaded by all those cards. So I mean, he still did a lot of damage, to be fair. So
Yeah, it's still lethal. Dante survives.
Donde still got there in the end.
Yeah, turns out if they can't corrupt stuff, they're pretty bad. Well,
Yep.
not pretty bad.
I
Deck just doesn't do.
No.
I was informed that I guess the turn, but I wonder if it was the turn where he might have wanted to go for like a Tanglin or something. He said there was a misclick somewhere in the last turn. I don't exactly remember, but he did say that there was a misclick on Chosen High
curious
side.
about that.
So we have game 5.
I don't know. If,
I didn't really notice it.
Me neither. It looked like it was just intentional because, but granted, with the way the turn play, maybe he. I guess we'll find out. Either way, Donde now has his Paladin left against the Bolner OTK Shaman. And we see here it is Libram Paladin.
yeah, and you know what card is in his hand for turn 1?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does
Star
he
of the
act-
Night.
Here's the thing, though. Does he actually keep that?
Yes.
Even against Bolner OTK?
Yeah.
To quote Mindy, from the Animaniacs. Why?
I mean,
It's a 1 mana card that does something.
There's nothing
this is a great start.
I guess that's not really what I'm asking. I mean, what I mean is like, are you really that eager to keep it against this deck, knowing they don't really have to play that many spells to make it work? But I guess it is worth. Forget it.
Yeah, it's that broken.
I think I'm just like thinking too much or not enough. And as I say that, I see like, look, this is a pretty good situation for Chosen Pie for Donde to be in with that thing, and he is just going to make it even bigger now, isn't he? Hello, bigger Trog.
Armor! Lightly used armor.
So you could go Bannerman here. Probably correct.
I think that's probably the right play. Save the coin for Truth Seeker next turn, and all of a sudden, boom, big taunt in your opponent's way. And then you can also play the Wisdom on top of that.
Yeah. There's some very cheeky plays his opponent can do with Snowfall, but given that he doesn't have a bird, I think right now it's pretty safe.
The funny thing is, though, Snowfall, this is actually one of the matchups where Snowfall is probably the least threatening. Because a lot of times you're going to have a big taunt that they still have to deal with even if they freeze the board.
Yeah, but they have the
So-
advantage.
No, it's still helpful, but it doesn't necessarily do as much compared to certain other matchups.
Fair.
Oof.
Not a huge fan of this play, but
I mean, what else was he supposed to do, though?
instead of playing this, there was an argument to just play a Primal Engineer.
Right, but I guess then the question is there anything that he could have gotten that would have affected the scenario there? Like, you could argue that at least getting the 3/4 out there will make it easier for him to put out an answer to this board, or at least to some of the trogs that are in play.
Fine. I do think it's an arguable play.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to
But Donde just... Man, this
The-
trog.
The problem right now for Donde is he's going to be board locked.
But with all the buffs, not necessarily a big deal. Oh, wow. Oh, right, I see what you're saying, because if he goes Lightning Bloom here...
So
That-
his opponent wants to start next turn. He needs one more turn of survival.
Hmm.
So he's going to power. It's going to freeze the 4/4 or the 4/3, probably 4/3, and it's going to say, "Look, I'm going to board lock you next turn," or not even board lock, but just board locking is always fun.
Hmm.
I would try to block.
It's not a bad idea. Personally, I would have done it this turn, though, because now next turn, you can play the Truth Seeker.
But if you do it this turn, you have the problem that you're overloaded the turn after. So you can only board lock them for one turn.
Ah, true.
So that's why the 6 mana is very important here.
I mean, this is definitely a play the Truth Seeker turn.
I'm going to throw the book at you.
I feel like this is just a play the Guardian.
Yeah, this is I'm
yeah.
the Guardian.
This way your minions won't be frozen next turn. You're not
No.
overloaded. You're still in a pretty decent spot. And now Donde only has 2 minion spots to really do something.
Yeah, and next turn they're board locked.
Yep. I mean, technically, he could try to board lock. He can board lock himself now to some extent, but I mean, I guess not really because he'd be playing the broom. Oh, interesting.
I do love a good study session.
You know what? I actually think this is pretty good. I mean, one way or another, Chosen Pie is going to have to get through this taunt, and he's not going to have an easy way of doing it, even with these Guardians.
This is a win for Chosen Pie already. You can trade the 3/3 into the 4/5, trade the 3/3 into the 6/8, kill the 6/8, kill the 4/5, then play
the other Guardian.
And then play Snowfall. The turn after you go for Macaw. And
yeah, he
it's
does
not.
have the Macaw. What?
There was no Cariel, this would be a win. Right now there's Cariel, so this isn't the win yet.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Carol is going to make this pretty annoying.
Yeah. That's all you can do, but it is Cariel.
Cariel's not bad. It's something. It gives you. It's the one thing you can do on your turn. It happens to cost all the mana you have.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess you just clear off one of the minions. It may freeze you. Or no, he's just going to go face. Okay. Huh. Honestly, I probably would have been more on board with that play if he was playing Mr. Smite, but this will get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
But you were right before. Without Cariel, this, I would assume he has enough damage for lethal, if not for Cariel.
He does.
Yeah.
With Cariel, you just fill your opponent's board with Trogs and watch as they die.
Oof. So much oof.
Yeah.
And now he's got the combo in hand. He just doesn't have much you can do with it at the moment.
No. I do think that Wind Chill could have been used to fill your opponent's board and make sure they can't play Varian or anything.
Right.
It's a tricky thing in this deck, but Trog is a double-edged sword that can board lock your opponent if you want to do a strategy. It's not a usual strategy. Oh, he miscounted. Yeah, that was a miscount. And with that, Donde wins.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm honestly trying to wrap my head around what just happened there, Lotus.
So the Chosen Pie missed very important chances to board lock his opponent by taking a bit more damage early.
Right.
And going face with big minions while his opponent would do nothing.
Yeah, but it also seems like part of the mistake was he didn't end up going for another Guardian there, because it seems like he did need to freeze his board once again, right?
He miscalculated. He thought he had more mana than he did. That's what happened that final game.
Oh, okay.
That said, that was quite a battle. I think both players played well. There were a few decisions that we could argue.
Yeah.
But I want to say props to Donde and props to the Chosen Pie for bringing it on and it's just I really enjoy seeing matches like these where both players are doing their best. And yeah, there are questionable things. We can spend a lot of time debating here. We're both just spectating, so we only get to think about these curious parts.
Right.
Ed, I think this was a great match.
I thought it was really good. The only thing I will also
Oh.
say is that what I find interesting is, people like to talk about how, like I saw this. It's like you see all this stuff in like the more like, with grandmasters in the chats, and it's like, you know what? Even when we see mistakes, it's not like it's always going to be so easy to spot, and it's not like everybody's going to think of every single like turn in the exact same way. So it's very interesting to be able to evaluate these plays and go, oh, this is what we would have done, but maybe like that wasn't necessarily the most optimal play. We can't be certain of anything. It's like at the end of the day, it's always just coming from our personalized perspective.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we have Mr. Donde coming in for an interview.
Yes.
Awesome.
He's got the opportunity to interview me. Now I get to interview him. The tables have
Yeah.
turned.
Hello, Donde.
Mr. Donde.
Hey everyone.
It's funny.
Congrats.
You've gotten to interview me before. Now I get to interview you. The tables have turned. Is he there?
Yeah, he's there.
Okay. I didn't hear a response, so I got confused.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry, my push to talk was acting
Oh,
all
gotcha.
Dang
funky
it.
there.
Dang it.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to be the recipient of the interview because that means I didn't totally screw up.
Yeah.
There
I
were
gotta ask,
moments.
I gotta ask, what was going through your head during that match? Because it seemed like you were put in a very like exhausting spot of like, okay, you're playing against this really good player in the Chosen Pie. You're down 2-1, and suddenly you have to win 2 games in a row with 2 different decks.
Yeah, I mean, so game 2 was just holy trog. Like there was just no answer for that, and
Yeah.
you can choose to get frustrated by that, obviously, or accept it for what it is, and that sometimes Trog just does that too if you don't have the answer. Partly my fault for mulliganing not on the chance there was a Trog on one. I should have probably put that in my mind, maybe tried to get like a Lightning Bolt or a Perpetual Flame, but didn't get there. That stunk. Game 3, though, big shout out to that Ogre for hitting the tidal wave and hitting it negatively like a jerk. I was like trying to set up plays with that if I could, and I didn't want to clear my own board. But like near the end there, I was kind of playing around like a Wind Fury possibility. Obviously, Fireheart did give the Wind Fury because she's a jerk, and he said he misclicked something. I don't know exactly what it was. I'm grateful, I guess, because it probably should have killed me. Like that was a really, really bad outcome for me there. But yeah, then just trying to like claw back with the last 2 games there was definitely a bit more stressful than it needed to be.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing we tend to see with you with you in these matches, it's like, you are a fighter. You obviously don't give up. You really give it your all. And, no matter what kind of spot you're put in, obviously try to do the best you can to give yourself the best chance of winning anyway.
Yeah, I always try to take it one turn at a time, one game at a time, one turn at a time, and can't really get tilted from the previous games if they didn't go your way. Just try to focus on what you can control. Like I can't control the previous game. I can't control a Trog on 1. I can control it, but I didn't control it. So forget it. I can't control the fact that I took a scroll of Steward of Scrolls and not a cheaper spell damage minion, which would have allowed me to do the clear. And I was just kicking myself for that. But again, like once that game is over, it's over. We move on and just try to get the wins from there.
100%. That is people at THL. That is the attitude that works so well. I found myself.
I'm working on it.
I have found myself in a match earlier this year. I went down 0-2 in Hero. Very, very tough spot to be in. Quest Priest, like I was like, oh my gosh, like this priest is discovering on me like it's the Barons again. But you take a minute, you calm down, and sometimes you get the reverse sweep, or in Donde's case, you come back from 2-1 and you beat up on the Bolner OTK Shaman.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was an OTK at first. Obviously, once like you see the macaws and everything, it kind of signals it a little bit more.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if it was just like an elemental or freeze. every shaman kind of has a little bit of that freeze package in it. Quest Shaman a little bit less so, but
Yeah.
that would be very obvious from turn 1 what he was playing if that was the case. So yeah, I wasn't sure. He said he hadn't played enough with it, and I can understand it's not an easy deck if you haven't really gotten a lot of reps on it. So he played it well for, as well he pressured me every game with it that he played it, and it felt like I was in tough spots. So that seems to be usually a good sign that you're playing a deck correctly when your opponent is under duress most of the game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I will see there was a very distinct lack of corruptible cards in his games.
Yeah.
Which was definitely kind of rough for him.
Mm.
But all that aside, you still navigated those games well enough to win. Like, obviously, we can all find faults in our own plays, but you got there, and that's what you take. And so, obviously, congratulations again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I gotta say, both of these matches that we saw tonight went in very similar directions. I mean, there were some very back and forth games. It ended up coming. They both went into Game 5. Both of the winners were the players who were down 2-1 and then managed to come back in Games 4 and 5. Just some really interesting navigating and decision making that we saw over the course of these matches, and it was very fun to watch. So we do got to thank you, Donde, for giving us quite a show tonight.
Well, thank you guys for casting, of course, having me on. Thanks to Chosen Pie for being a great opponent, and good luck to him and his team the rest of the season as well. And he was the one who suggested that we play on stream, so you guys can definitely send your thanks his way as well for that one.
Will do.
Yes, I will actually say, because we have the chance to mention it, Chosen Pie did actually win a Masters qualifier recently, so he will be competing in the next Masters Tour if anybody wants to check him out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, always. I did know about that, and it's always a little intimidating. Obviously, somebody can wade through a field of very good players, and you're playing against them in Legacy. It's you're going against a good opponent that way.
I mean, it's definitely fair. Like, when you see a player's credentials, you think to yourself, like, oh boy, like you're gonna give it your all, but you also know, like, do not take your opponent lightly.
Yeah.
Do not underestimate them. Well, any other questions that you guys would like to ask Donde? Or do you think we're good?
I'll ask a final question to Donde. So what I have for him is, Donde, should people play on stream? Is there anything they can get? Maybe participation in a special event by playing on stream or something like that. I don't know if there's anything of the sort.
Lotus, first of all, glad to hear your voice, buddy. Didn't hear you asking questions, so I'm glad you're still here, still awake. Always love talking to you. And you are absolutely correct, because playing on stream does get you recognition towards the March Madness event, which is happening at the end of this season. So one of the auto qualifiers is playing on stream the most. So yes, if you have a chance to play on stream and your opponent would like to play, it is always welcome to play on stream. And that's why I don't like to monopolize it, because I would play on stream all the time. I'm very happy to offer up my match whenever. Naturally. So I usually let my opponent say hey, I want to play on stream, just so there's no pressure that way. But as long as the time lines up, I'm always game for it. And everyone else who wants to be, obviously it's optional, and some people don't like to play on stream, that's fine, but there is the added perk this season of potentially getting an automatic invite to the March Madness tournament, which has prizes at the end. So absolutely worthwhile. Yeah.
And I will say, sure everyone here agrees with me that it's totally fine to make a fool of yourself on stream. I've played poorly on stream matches more than once, and
yeah, I have too.
We all have.
And you win later, and that's how it goes.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you do something super duper cool, you can get immortalized in a clip.
Yeah.
Or you just get taunted by Saku because you only get witchy lackeys.
Or
certain metas notwithstanding.
Or in my case, you could have documented proof of defeating your rival despite his incessant claims that he's never beaten you before.
Yes,
true.
true.
Have the receipts.
Yeah. Or like me, you can start off the season with an incredible lethal of wife into knife ender.
Ooh.
Donde remembers, I hope.
Oh dear God.
The real ones remember.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Oh my.
Yeah, that was my
God.
birthday weekend too. That was quite fun. Anyways,
Oh dear God. That's one
um,
way. That's one way of celebrating your birthday.
yeah. So
Can I just ask one more thing to
sure,
Donde?
of course.
I just want to say, Don, we haven't talked nerfs at all, so I want to say, are you excited for a new Hearthstone starting next week?
Hell no, I'm playing really well right now. I don't want this to change.
You want Rogue Stone more?
Yeah, I want to win, and I'm winning. So don't change anything. Everyone else, just keep bringing the same stuff. Don't change
You know,
anything.
Donde. Not only are those
like
fighting
this.
words, but those are the words of a player who's about to get really screwed over by RNG in the near.
Yeah, you know,
just keep winning. That's what you got to do.
my teammates
Exactly.
would say the same. They would ask me to keep winning. So yeah, I'm sure that's the common sentiment.
Well, to quote the only line from Rob Schneider that you should ever remember from him anymore, you can do it.
Yes, you can do it.
Well, we're all chasing Fish right now for crossover players. So gotta keep the pressure up.
We'll see how that continues. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again so much for coming on. Again, congratulations on your win. And I doubt this will be the last time this season that we both see you on stream, and maybe not even the last time we see you in the interview room. So thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, man.
Have a great night.
You as well.
You too.
Yeah.
And so with that match, as we see, the Zilfs get first blood and go up 4-2 in this match. And as we saw before, in LeBron versus No Pros Here, Clarity's win puts No Pros Here over, gives them a 9-8 lead over LeBron, with 2 matches left to go for that one. So overall, I'd say pretty satisfied with how these matches went. What do you guys think?
I agree. These were good matches.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think at this point it was, for all of us talking about how much we are excited for the change in the meta, all these nerfs and for Rogue to, as you said, no more Rogue Stone Lotus. I'm definitely excited for that. But you know what? We still got a very fun set of matches tonight. Obviously, no Rogue was involved, so that was a plus. But either way, I'm pretty content with what we got to see tonight. It was definitely a good way to spend our Thursday, don't you think?
For sure. This was a fun Thursday night. I want to thank JR and Fish personally for being here with me because I don't know, I haven't casted in a while, and
Me neither.
these are people I've casted so many times with, and it's fun to get back with them.
I'll be honest, the one thing I'm really surprised by is I'm getting to the end of the night and it's I think my voice is actually starting to fade a little.
Oh, mine isn't, but I'm starting to fade a little because it's 1 here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because you're ahead in time. Oh my god. Well, Fish, what about you?
Oh, any final words?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure tomorrow night we have matches as well for Friday Night Fights. So tune in for that tomorrow night.
Fantastic.
And otherwise, thank you so much to everybody in the chat for watching and hopefully enjoying the match alongside with us. And that's all I have. We're gonna wrap it up here and just say thank you to JR and Lotus for casting on pretty short notice.
Our pleasure.
So
yeah,
we will see everyone tomorrow night, hopefully. And until then, have a great night, everybody. Stay safe.
Stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Have a good
night, everyone.